All right, all those in favor of approval of the meeting minutes from November 7th, 2022, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 4-0-0. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Good job. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item E, which is update from department heads. I know Kim Kleiner and Kim Queenan are at the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, which is in Town Hall, so they are not present. So I don't think there's much in the way of for updates from department heads. I know that they had reached out to the library. I don't see the library here this evening, so I guess.
The library has their own meeting coming up at 7 o'clock.
Oh, they do this evening? Okay, all right. So I'll move to agenda item F, which is discussion by members, priority of projects. So Jay, if you want to lead off, I know you gave us a new spreadsheet tonight, and then we can go into that process.
Yes, so I will just jump the gun to an emergency report. But so here's your most updated spreadsheet. Nothing has changed on the town side. Kim did ask that we leave water improvements in under general government with just a $0 amount, just as kind of a placeholder. So that's been left. So otherwise, nothing else has changed on the town side at all. The most significant change, obviously, is adding in the schools. So hopefully, I did this correctly. I guess I do understand there was a snafu in getting me some of the numbers, but so I just took a guess. The way this is structured is because it's the preferred alternative, we've put in the new school to replace GMS. And so that starts with a bond presumably in 2024. This is where the guessing part comes in. I just assumed 20-year bond at 5%. That might be right, that might be wrong. I'm happy to change that to whatever, I think the school district would recommend, if it's a longer term or a different rate, but that's the stab I took.
Okay.
Seemed to me that municipal rates are running around 5%-ish, 4%-ish, but maybe we get a better rate, I don't know.
Yeah, they were using 5.75, just to be conservative,
Oh,
but
that's
I
right,
think
okay.
they believe that we would get a better rate than that.
Okay.
I mean, their most current one was 3.66 that they did, but knowing that interest
That
rates
was
are going up.
right. So 5's probably not
I
bad.
think 5 is sweet
Okay.
spot, yeah.
Okay. And then again, if we want to change the term, we can change the term. Otherwise, everything, unless I goofed, should be in there, just as requested. Hopefully everybody does have access to the spreadsheet that the school provided, to the extent that you want to use that as a guide. I did not fill in the priorities because we have no priorities for the town side either.
Right.
So I figure that's really the exercise that you're going to go through this evening. And then across the bottom, you can see in blue, just as a reminder, these are the priority categories: urgent, committed, which essentially means it's already programmed, necessary, desirable, DR is deferrable, R is more research is needed, and I is inconsistent, with the CIP and whatever reason you think it's inconsistent. And then I think as usual, the same notes. I did add one other footnote in here. I did put in the GMA renovation repairs, note that it's 25 million, and then put an asterisk saying this is an alternative proposal if the new school warrant article fails. So it's in there. It's obviously not, no dollars shall collect in for it.
Right. It should be GMS.
Oh,
It's not Good Morning America.
it's not Good Morning America. I was probably watching Good Morning America.
They can sponsor us. So.
Hey, that'd be great.
Good catch.
There you go. Okay. Mr. Totten, do you have anything to add for the school side?
No, I think we might, I agree, I think starting with a 20-year does make sense. I think we might, looking at the numbers, bump it up to a 25-year to make the number per year a little bit more attainable, for people in the town. But I think starting at somewhere around 2.7 million doesn't look great, but that's kind of the cost of what it would end up being per year, so.
I should also add, it's probably a worst-case scenario in the sense that there is no assumption for building aid. So
Yeah.
school building aid would obviously bring that capital cost.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Total project cost on the school line is marked as 55 million.
That's
That's with the interest?
That's
Yes.
very interesting.
Yes. I should probably make a note of that, just for all the total costs include interest, so I'll make that clear.
Oh, and I should add, Ms. Douglas, I believe, will be joining us this evening. I think she might be coming late. She sent an email to me this afternoon, so, just so you know.
Another task at hand is to fill in that blank
So, yes,
column
the-
that says priority rank.
So this is, this is the opportunity to prioritize this evening. And I don't know how the committee wishes to start, and, or where you want to start with a specific item, or go through them one by one. How would you like to proceed?
At this point, Jay, are they in the order that the departments, under each department, it's the order that they felt they were
It's in their
prioritizing?
order.
Their order, okay, I see.
So water improvements is just a placeholder, is that what you said? Is that
Yes.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, realistically, that's probably a DR or an R.
Okay. So I guess, I mean, we can start, with police department if you want. So we have the new police facility. We have engineering for 2023 at 200,000. The balance to be paid by town beyond, that's 0. 10-year bond payment, 2%.
That should probably be higher, but that's what they provided.
Okay. So we, give or take, I guess. Right now, that would be 2024, $662,497. Through 2008, 6-year total cost is $3,312,484. Total project cost $6,424,968, and the balance to be paid by town beyond 6 years, right now, they have it at $3,112,484. We have the new tasers, the ARPA funds. We agreed that would probably be best to use those for that, as well as the IT equipment purchases that we talked about.
And you can give a priority rank to the ARPA-funded projects, but you don't need to.
Okay, all right. So I guess, where do we stand with the police department? Does anybody have?
Is this
any-
for a totally new building or in addition to the current space? I don't think I was on the
No,
committee
this
when
is
they
an
moved
extension
it.
off of this building.
Yeah.
Off of their current building?
Yeah,
No,
so
off of this building.
off of this building.
Oh, off of this building?
Yeah.
Yeah, to
Oh.
combine, yeah.
Yeah, so it would go right, got my directions right.
That's right.
That
And where-
way.
Oh, and what will be done with the police currently?
It will go to
Town
some other.
offices?
Yeah.
Yeah, office or expand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So where is that currently? On the, how is it ranked currently on the?
Previously, it was ranked as urgent.
Okay. I think it's still, the need hasn't changed.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it still being an urgent need. I don't know about the timing of it, as we don't currently have a police chief. I'm not sure how that plays into things.
Yeah.
I think part of the thinking was that you go for a warrant article this year for the 200,000, and that's kind of a way of testing public
Testing the
sentiment.
waters,
Yeah.
okay. I do know in the past, Chief Sergeant had said that he wouldn't push for a new police facility until the GMS project.
Oh, same year.
Right.
That's.
But since we're deferring a year, I understand
Who,
that.
can I, who
Yeah.
did you say?
Chief Sergeant.
It was the last time we did this cycle.
Yeah, when we
Yeah.
did the,
Oh.
Yeah.
And he's not here now.
No, there's an
He's,
acting chief.
Okay.
so at that time, he had deferred to the school because GMS also
I
wanted to
understand.
build. So he basically said, I'll wait till GMS and then come back. That was it was a compromise at the time.
Right, I understand.
And the priority ranking, I mean, the last time we did this, obviously, we did it as urgent for the facility. So
So we all agree it should still be urgent.
Right.
I think, yeah, I don't think much has changed with that regard.
You have it as the full warrant for the beginning in 24, I see.
Right. So
That's
that,
certainly subject to change. I
right, exactly.
think it should change.
Um,
It's not my place to say, but strategically, two significant capital.
Right.
Yeah,
We're
I mean,
not
I think
close
that's
to the
what we need to
same
work
years.
through the sheet and figure out what we're gonna go from that perspective.
At this point, I would still advocate for GMS to be the top priority of the capital improvement plan as it has been. The need hasn't changed, you know. We did hear from Building Aid that we're ranked 5th, which is, and we ranked highly, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, on the health and safety issue, life and safety portions of it.
Yeah, so Rochester ranked number 1, but if we took out their points that they got for free and reduced students, then we would have been over them. Colebrook was number 2. If we took out their points for free and reduced, they would have beat us by a little bit. But, we're definitely high up there because we got 0 points for free and reduced. So to be ranked 5th out of, I think it was like 17, 0 points on that part of it, I think does show the need for the new elementary school.
So, in terms of the land purchase, once you've selected a piece of land and that is announced, is there going to be a contingency to that? I mean, in terms of the warrant article, that if the school, say, passes, then the property can be, purchased, or is it basically you're just going to purchase the land? It would seem to me that the way it would be, I would think it would be, is that if you're going to have a new school built, that there would be some sort of a contingency that if it wasn't, if for some reason it didn't happen, okay, say it just did not happen, the vote, failed, whatever, what happens to the property, I guess is the question.
No, I think that's definitely a good question. Dr. Jetty's a little bit more familiar with it. What I do know is that if we put on the warrant article this year and it doesn't pass, so we do have another year in order to bring it up with our current purchase and sales agreement. So we'd have 2 years to bring it up and see if it passes. I'm not quite sure what would happen if the school itself didn't pass at that point.
Yeah, I was just curious, I didn't know, I mean, it seems to me, I mean, it would make sense, I mean, if something, God forbid, something happens and it doesn't pass, then what's gonna happen with the
With the
purchase
land,
and sale?
Yeah, and I
It's
think-
kind of,
I think a further question to that too is if the new school doesn't pass, but renovating the existing school passes,
Right.
well, then we know we're not gonna be needing of that land anymore. If the new school doesn't pass, but renovating of the existing school doesn't pass, well, eventually Litchfield is going to need to do something. So having the land to do something wouldn't be horrible, whether that be 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years down the line.
Right.
And Doug, if the school does pass, then what do they intend to do with the current school?
I think that'd be something we'd have to look into more.
And how much land is there at the current location?
I'm not quite sure about total acres down there for the land. I can see if I have that anywhere, but
And when that land was purchased for the school, for GMS and for their fields and so forth, was there any kind of stipulations in that purchase and sales about it having to be used for schools?
No, I don't believe so.
You clear on that?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think that the, whatever the deed that the school board has says that that property does not have to be for a school. We have the agency to sell a portion of it or all of it to be used as any purpose.
Thank you.
So just for a second, if we can go back to the police department, we'll come back to the school. So we're gonna keep that as urgent? Is that the consensus of the board?
Of what?
To
Police
keep,
department.
To
Keep
keep
police department.
as urgent,
Oh, police.
as on the priority ranking
I think so.
For police?
for police?
Yeah.
I don't know if the
I
need
think
has
everybody
changed.
agreed on that.
Yeah. Okay. Do we need to vote to make it?
You could probably take a vote at the end. If there's consensus on them,
Okay.
then you could take a vote.
Yeah,
at the
otherwise
end.
it's gonna take a lot longer.
All right,
Take a
all
lot
right,
longer.
got it. Okay. All right.
No, Jay, under fire department, where it says 1991 tanker, it's replacement of that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Should make that clear.
What was that, Marion? I didn't catch.
Under the fire department, it says 1991 tanker.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it should say
replacement, yeah.
replacement.
replacement.
Well, I mean, I thought it was, but then I thought, geez, I know they're expensive, but that seems awfully nice.
For a 91?
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a 91.
For 91.
So we have, right now in our spreadsheet is basically the ARPA funds. We would use the $375,901 for a purchase.
Right.
And beginning in, I assume that this is for payment in 2025 to 28. So you're looking at $55,769 each year. 6-year total cost would come to $223,077. Total project cost, you're looking at about $446,155. And balance to be paid by town beyond 6 years looks like it would be $223,078.
And that 2-year gap's assuming the submission of the order for the vehicle, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So the last time when we did fire apparatuses, this was the tanker truck. We had it down as priority ranking of urgent at the time. That was at the time. So we know that there's obviously a need for a tanker.
Yeah.
Do we want to change it? Do we want to keep it the same?
I think we keep it the same. I mean, I
I
don't think
agree.
it's gotten better since
Okay.
the last time we discussed it, and we have a good
The
portion of
ARPA
it in
funds.
ARPA.
Right, I agree.
All right, so we'll mark that down as urgent. Let's see, moving on to highway department. So we have the annual road improvement program. We have an operating budget, 200,000 a year.
6 years.
Existing revenues, we have 1,200,000.
That's kind of coupled together with the warrant article line, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, so the warrant article would go for going from $200,000 over the course, so 2023 to 2028. 6-year total cost, you're looking at the 1,200,000. Total project cost, 1,200,000 with balance 0.
Right.
And then we have the 2012 Caterpillar backhoe replacement. So we have ARPA funds available for those at $155,000. And the medium-duty plow dump truck will use $157,000 of ARPA funds. Heavy-duty plow dump truck, that's pushed out to 2025. Payment is $34,288, 2008. So you have a 6-year total cost of $137,152. Total project costs, you were looking at $274,305, and with the balance to be paid by town beyond 6 years would be approximately $137,153. So the last time we did this, we had priority ranked the operating budget as necessary. And we had a warrant article desirable for the warrant article. The road plan.
Yeah, because I think we had other equipment ranked higher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, everything was appeared to be necessary. Looks like two things: the salt shed and the highway parking lot. 10-year bond; those were both desirable. Other than that, everything else was necessary.
There was a new plow truck, 8-year lease that was desirable.
Right.
So is that the medium duty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
it's
So I think
necessary.
that was, we had decided we can use the ARPA funds for that.
So Jay, did you say that if we're doing ARPA funds, that's committed?
You could put it that way. I mean, I don't know if the selectmen have taken a vote.
Right.
I don't
I don't
believe
think
they,
they
I think they're
have.
waiting on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had, then I would say it's
Okay.
committed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we just leave it until they thumbs up
Okay.
this outcome.
So just mark it as necessary?
I wouldn't mark it, just leave the ARPA funds. If
So
they
just
go to
leave the
zero, just leave them
1.2
alone.
million necessary for the operating budget?
Yeah, so there's that one that
Right.
we can vote on, and then the heavy-duty plow truck.
Right.
Oh, okay. That's
So-
going to be for 2025.
Yes.
Yep.
Necessary?
Yeah. So the warrant article is necessary, or is that desirable?
It'd be necessary to get the 1.2, wasn't it?
You think it's necessary?
I don't know.
They've been using it, right?
Yeah, that's a grant. That 1.2
Okay.
block.
Oh, that's
is
a
Yeah,
grant.
The
Yeah.
first one's a grant.
Oh, that's a grant.
They're using,
Yeah.
that's the highway block
Yeah,
grant
it's
money.
so-
that they
Oh, I
use.
see, okay.
So that would,
So
that's
that,
essentially
starting in
there.
2023, that'll be...
200K.
Okay,
Right, so they're looking for 200K above and beyond,
I see.
so that they can keep to
Keep
the
'em-
desirable.
Keep to their schedule for
Their
their
replacement
equipment
schedule.
replacements, et
Yes.
cetera, I get it.
I'm just trying to remember what the roads were that he was trying to do.
Oh, yeah, he did give us.
He gave us a plan, here's our roadmap.
Yeah, there's a plan for all the roads in town.
Right.
Yeah. He had a schedule. And I know he handed out paper. Oh,
He
here it
did.
is. That's right, people say.
Should've brought it.
And then you did top to bottom the order that he had put in here, right? Because
Yeah.
that was a priority. Just to double check. I think it was at the end. Yeah, here it is. It's like
Okay. Yeah.
3 pages from the end.
Oh, yeah, here it is, right. Yeah, I thought I saw it.
Just so I can refresh myself.
Yeah. So, pass on. So these are the projects.
This was their...
Completing,
yeah.
yeah, this was their presentation.
Right, I was here, but I
So,
don't think I was on it.
No, you weren't, I didn't think this was before
Just
you
because I
came
might
on
have
board.
been in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole first page, I think, was done this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's all 22.
So, 2024, 25, 26.
And he changed something because of the Penachuk. Oh, that was what he cut out, something. Because Penachuk's gonna work there and they'll
Right.
do it.
Right.
I forget just which ones it was.
Because those things are going now. Yeah, because, see, he has them marked in here that they're putting out 200,000 per year to couple together with the warrant.
Right.
It's been a while since I looked at the sheet.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think they were the first ones, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Troy was still here.
Yeah, when they did the first pass.
Yeah.
So, because I think they had it scheduled out to 400K a year, if I remember correctly. And then they had the street mileage is all about the same. I think we marked that as necessary.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't like driving in potholes.
Agreed.
I
Right,
don't think
yeah.
anybody else does either.
So that's the warrant article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just imagine that other 1.2 just would
Right.
stack on
I
top
see,
of
right,
200K
yeah.
out
Yeah.
until it's depleted.
Mhm.
Okay. So necessary.
So that takes you to heavy duty plow truck.
Right.
Set for
Just put a
64.
pen in there and change it.
What, the heat,
Just stick a pen through the middle.
the AC?
I don't think my pen's big enough.
Oh, it's set for 64.
Yeah. It said at 63, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Body heat's making it 63.
Freezing. I'm cold.
Oh no, what do you guys?
Firefighters will plow.
That's because they're not here.
Yeah, right.
They're at home by their fires.
So what do we think for the heavy duty plow truck?
Necessary. My opinion.
I mean, because at this rate, I mean, 2025, that's gonna get cycled into the next round of CIP anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna show up again, yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, it's not even gonna kick off by then.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, if they take care of it with ARPA fund, if they decide to use the ARPA funds for that, I think.
well, they're not gonna use it for the
No.
heavy one,
Not
just
for the heavy
medium.
duty, that's for the
They use
Oh, I
that for
see.
the
Okay.
medium duty.
That's why I'm just
Yeah.
trying to figure out the timing, because I mean, I think because they're getting the other two, maybe we just mark it as deferrable and leave it on there for 25? Because it will have to get addressed again.
Or desirable,
Well,
Yeah, I wouldn't mind desirable.
no?
Well, I mean, we can do desirable, that's fine. I mean, I know they want it, it's
Yeah.
just kind of, I
I
think
mean,
it's
because
kind
it's
of
a few years out that you would just put defer and then.
Yeah, and just leave
Okay.
it on the schedule this way.
And then bring
So
it
that it will draw
forward,
attention,
yeah.
maybe we put a note and just to draw attention to it for the next round.
Yeah, I mean, either way's fine.
Cause I mean, you know, they're getting two other pieces of equipment, so.
Right.
So is the thought is we reevaluate every year.
Yeah, there will be
Right?
some
Yeah.
reevaluation,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think the major ones come every 3, right?
Every couple of years, it seems like we've been doing two,
Yeah.
3 years, we've been doing a bigger evaluation.
Okay.
So, then they can reevaluate once they have the other.
So DR for that deferrable?
Defer.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
at least the first pass. We'll make it this way.
All right. So that brings us to Recreation Commission. So you have Roy Memorial Park irrigation.
That's ARPA.
That's ARPA fund.
That's
Yeah.
60,000 set aside for that. Sawmill Brook Park.
Would be impact fees, right?
Yeah,
Impact fees.
122,000 for those. 2023 was 53,000. It's total project cost.
And that was the 53 was a plus up on the impact fees?
53 was what they needed to complete the project.
Okay, so it's the offset.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's total project cost is 175,000.
Yeah.
My hard drive's full, I gotta look at my notes. I have notes here.
Yeah, they're thinking that they can use the impact fees here because this is an actual improvement.
Yeah. I see. All right, that's the pickleball court setup.
Right,
Right.
and playground.
Yeah. Trying to do mental alignment. Things aren't marked the same way. My brain's like, what?
Pickleball is pretty important.
Very.
So some people, I'm sure.
Yeah. Guess it's who you ask, right?
Yeah.
There's the disputes out there.
But there were some other updates too,
Yeah,
not just the
there are.
pickleball. Yeah,
That's
the,
right.
the playground
And fixing the tennis courts.
court.
and
back.
the tennis court
Resurfacing the
refacing.
tennis
Yeah.
courts.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I guess there was some cleanup around that tennis court area when they put the other stuff in
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, it's fair amount of work.
yeah,
And
because that's all that stuff
23.
right up against the street,
Right.
Right.
Albuquerque. Yeah. I think that's desirable too, right? I don't think we would say that was necessary.
Just want to see.
I have a
Here
question
we go.
about the impact fees. Do they know that they have that
Yeah, I
much in
mean-
impact fees?
So
what
there
happens
was
to
a
the
couple
impact fees
different.
if you don't
There was a
use them?
bunch of stacking on.
Eventually they'll lapse
Yeah.
if you don't use them.
So wouldn't that
And
then
they
be
didn't indicate-
necessary
they
so
didn't
that we could use the
indicate their-
impact fees rather
That's
than
important.
desirable?
That's
Well, they
important.
just kind of put that, they're just done
Yeah.
in
They're
priority
going
order
to the
top
select
of
board tonight to get those funds.
Recreation?
Yeah, the smaller groups, they don't usually have a ton of money, so they don't.
Yeah.
I think everybody else heard your point.
Prioritizes.
Peter?
What's that?
I said if they need to use the impact fees of 122, then I would make that necessary because they lose them
For
otherwise.
timing,
Yeah.
is there a term on the impact?
Yes.
Okay. Then that's fine. I mean, the use or lose, I would hate to
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't want them to lapse.
have that whole thing cycle back around for warrant.
Mhm.
Yeah, here it is. So they were looking at dollar cost impact is 175,000 annually.
Yep.
And there's a chance they may fundraise for all or part of that
Right,
53 and not
because
have to.
Carrie had
Yeah.
a comment about the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that,
Playground
the
cost
warrant
and
was
all, yeah.
questionable.
Right.
So that's for a playground at Sawmill Park.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and the update, well, adding new courts for pickleball and then
Yeah.
refurbishing.
Oh, altogether.
The
Okay.
Yeah, that was a
refurbishing
whole-
the
that was a
tennis
whole
court,
batch
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
And then the promise of cleaning up that whole area around the
Yeah.
existing tennis courts, which is, you know, around the fence line and all that stuff. so. Because it would just reface that whole area right there against
Mhm.
the highway, the
Hmm.
Battlefield. So, yeah, you're right. I think we should probably make it necessary so we don't lose out on that 122.
Okay.
Since the bulk of that's kind of already handled.
Then we're to talent hall improvements.
And that would be a warrant article.
Right, right.
So this is 190,
Well, this is straight, this is like this is $1 million plus.
It's like 2 million,
That's
yeah.
23.
Yeah, it's a
Pulled out.
$1.5 million bond, 10 years, assumed 5%.
Right.
Yeah, that was the HVAC. I guess some plumbing.
The-
What else was there? Were they doing the floor too?
Yeah.
It was a lot, it was the
There
I
floor,
think it was the floor,
seating.
the seating,
Yeah.
there's no seating.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work.
The heat, the bathrooms, I
Bathrooms.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
sort of like
It's
a whole
it's a
redo,
complete overhaul of the
Yeah.
building.
Right.
right.
Yeah, you're looking at, yeah. 1,500,000 cost.
And there was an order there too, right? Paving would come afterwards.
Paving,
Right,
yeah,
right.
paving come out.
Just so we have notes on that.
Oh, Peter, underneath that, at the bottom one is resurface
Right,
the Sawmill
that's why I
Park
was-
tennis
Yeah, you're right,
courts.
that's the tennis courts.
So the tennis courts are not included in that original.
That's right.
Oh.
But didn't they say they painted over the tennis courts to make them into pickleball or something?
And I thought they were gonna do overlays or something.
That's what I
I
thought.
don't think it was
they-
I don't think they
I
were
thought
like
they were gonna
ripping
do-
up and redoing it.
I
There's
thought
some
they were
kind
gonna
of
do
mat or
new courts,
something.
But there was a new overlay that they were
Yeah.
gonna put
Yeah.
on the.
Instead of redoing them or something all
The tennis
together.
courts themselves, yeah, I think it was a new
Okay.
surfacing of
Yeah. All
them.
right, so that would be coming later.
Okay.
Okay.
So Talent Hall was to alleviate substandard conditions and deficiencies, improve quality of existing services, added capacity to serve growth, reduce long-term operating costs.
I think we need to double check that. That's not what my notes say.
I'm looking at
which one?
For the
their
recreation.
worksheet.
For Talent Hall?
Yeah,
No, for the, going back to the
to the,
Sawbrook,
Oh, the Sawmill
Sawbrook Park and the tennis courts. I have it all listed out as one thing, unless we got on a rant and I didn't write it down. Oh, no, here we go. 110 for the resurfacing is what I have listed.
Sawmill Brook currently
That's what
has
I've got for the, I'll double check my numbers, but the 110 is what I've got for the parking lot paving.
So currently there are 2 tennis courts, a large mixed soccer
Okay.
lacrosse field. Park has room to expand and offer additional recreational services. We have requests from the town citizens to provide pickleball courts, a playground and picnic area. Expansion of services at Sawmill Brook Park is an acceptable use of impact fees. That's basically what they,
That's their sheet, right?
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you printed that one out. I'll have to pull it back up and look through electronic.
Because I think he sent this to us that night. We didn't
Yeah.
have those.
Yeah.
so where do we stand on talent hall improvements? Desirable, necessary?
I don't know.
Yeah, that one's tough.
I was gonna say deferrable, but.
I mean,
I mean, from what they
That's
were
like a
saying,
can that
although I
keeps on
don't have
getting
kids
kicked
in
out.
at
Yeah,
that
down
age,
the
but I
road.
mean, it sounded like a lot of people do use that for their,
tons of people use that.
I
all
mean, I've seen a
kinds of
lot of
different
people
stuff.
over there, so I know a lot of people
Yeah.
use the area, but I don't know how many teams and so forth they have, town teams.
Well, I think that was part of their feedback, right? If it was in better
Right.
condition, they would probably get more use.
Right, and and the parents
But, you
have
know,
an issue because there's no place for
It's not
them when
Field
they.
of Dreams, right?
Right.
You build it there.
Yeah,
So
the
for
lack
that
of
reason, because
spectator
it's
accommodation
used
was
by
an
so
issue.
many
Yeah.
townspeople, I would say desirable myself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what? Let's just do a first pass and then we can go back and do details.
But when you
Otherwise,
say
I'm gonna
the
drag
difference,
this
like
out.
desirable or deferrable just means that we put.
Deferrable means that we're kind of
Put it-
diminishing it, and pushing it for a little
Pushing
bit.
it out, yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it can be deferred. Desirable means it's a nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So deferred might be more important but not doable right now?
No, deferred means it's really not necessary now. It's something that you
you
Wait
know,
for later.
Wait for the,
Right.
right, you can defer it for future consideration is pretty much.
Oh,
what it
I
is.
think it's desirable then. I think it needs to be done.
For talent?
Yeah.
Desirable means it's a nice thing to have, but it's not necessary.
Yes.
Right.
So D?
It's always a matter of point of view.
Always.
Right, if you had a kid playing on a basketball team, you'd probably
Yeah.
say it was an N, necessary.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think that the
wanna be-
sawmill is, you know, well, of course, that's impact fees, so that's
Right.
not.
Well, they have
Yeah.
the money.
Yeah, they have
So we
a
could either
good
make
portion
that
of the
other one
funds.
necessary or desirable.
And then we got the parking lot.
Right. So the parking lot,
But I think we all kind of agreed that there's no point in doing the park, if you're going to ever do
Right.
the building,
Yeah.
do the parking lot second, right?
And yeah, that's always the case, because as
Yeah.
soon as they put a
We're gonna
machine on
start
it,
tearing
it's
it
done.
apart if we did that now, even though that's.
Wasn't the parking lot done?
I think they did, no, I think it's just the center, I don't think the far ends are done.
Right,
I think they did like, when you come in the gate straight up to the next gate, like you're going down to the hall. But on either side, I think they leveled it, but it's still not paved,
Right,
with the intent that, the machines would stay out on the dirt. Because there are a couple, at least last time I was down there was machines all the way down on the right-hand side when you pulled in.
yeah.
I'm not sure what they were doing, but,
So is that, I certainly think that's desirable for someone
well, I
who
guess it's gonna have, I
parks
mean.
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
But if-
exactly. You don't like parking in muddy puddles?
I really don't.
No.
I mean, it's kind of
And it's
coupled
kind
together.
of tied, right.
Yeah.
So I
that's-
think we'd have to
yeah.
mark them the same.
Okay.
I have a feeling this page is gonna be messy.
yeah.
More we go.
Well,
We'll just start, like I said, let's
So does
let's
that-
get a
Yeah.
pass, and then we can go
Alright.
back.
Very good.
Because otherwise, we're gonna second guess ourselves in oblivion.
Yeah.
Right.
And then was
Tennis
the,
courts.
were they,
I remember there was a whole conversation around the type of surfacing and,
but they said that the 100,000 that they're requesting is a
see,
lot
you-
less money,
my notes
than
say
having
sawmill
it completely
resurfacing
redone.
110.
I think.
right,
They're gonna have some sort of
I had
a,
110 for both, but whatever.
we should have a project sheet on it.
Yeah, it's right
right, and I
here.
don't
I
have
could,
it
I
with me.
could, I could have goofed.
I might have wrote it down wrong.
So the two tennis courts at Sawmill Brook Park are deteriorating. The surfaces are cracked and need to be resurfaced. We have contacted a company that can fill the cracks and resurface the courts with a mat. These mats will be stripped for tennis and will not be stripped for pickleball.
Striped.
I'm sorry, striped.
Right.
Removing the pickleball stripes will allow the CHS tennis team to hold sessions at that
Yeah,
court.
that's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they were gonna take the existing courts, they were
Yeah.
gonna resurface them
Right.
with that mat that
Yeah.
was lined for tennis and nothing else.
Cost 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that because they were gonna use these mats, it's a lot less than what it would cost to rip them up and redo them.
Redo the whole thing.
I believe that's what
Yeah,
it
and I think
said,
the
yeah.
maintenance was lower too, because the mat would keep
Yeah.
the lines longer.
I think that's
Right,
right.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's. How many tennis players do we have at the school, do we know?
I didn't even know we had a tennis
Doug?
team.
Don't know.
Honestly.
See, that's an interesting statement.
What?
That's a good question.
I
She
didn't
says she
even
doesn't
know
even
we
know
had a
there was a
tennis
tennis team.
Isn't that
Oh.
awful? I should know that.
So if there is a tennis team,
Never
we
seen
apologize in advance, otherwise, are we spending $100,000 to hope that we get a tennis team?
Well,
Well, other people in town use tennis.
No,
courts.
I know, I'm being,
Yeah.
I would say deferrable, but
you say defer the tennis courts?
I've never seen anybody out there.
Oh, yeah. So
have? Okay, well,
I mean,
guess,
I've seen
Desirable,
people
then.
out there, it's just,
Make it desirable.
well, if we said the rest of Sawmill Park is necessary, it kind of would go hand
Oh,
in hand to
okay.
do the work all
Yeah,
at
I
once.
see.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I would agree with that.
Tie them together,
Mhm.
unless you disagree.
So make the sawmill project necessary both parts and make the talent both parts desirable.
Aside from the
Okay.
irrigation, which is, oh, we didn't talk about the
Well, that's,
irrigation.
but that's
Well, the irrigation
ARPA.
is
It's
still
covered.
ARPA.
That's covered, okay.
Yeah.
So that's covered.
Let's just, I guess,
I don't know, though, is Roy, Memorial more pressing and Talent Hall more pressing?
Well, I think though, because they would have the impact fees for sawmill to start it,
Well,
Like the
and- but
bulk of
that's
the money they have for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the impact fees.
Right.
And a lot of the costs
Oh,
taken
right, I
out,
forgot
or
about
the
that.
ARPA funds are taking a chunk out, it should make it go through warrant easier if there's a balance, because a portion of it's already taken care of,
Right.
right?
Okay,
So that's what I'm trying to level set in my head.
yeah.
What's our total, do you have last year's sheet by chance? Or last time we did this sheet?
What are you looking for?
The annual total for '22, what we had projected. I don't know how close we are after the fact, but just for a baseline reference. Because, trying to prioritize, we gotta figure out how far are we going up and down here.
School, this whole, for 2022 was 2,723,000.
And that's the total number?
That's
Yeah.
school also.
That's both,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because right now, I think it's showing 1.6 for 2023.
Yes.
right.
So 2022 was 2.27?
Yeah, 2,723,277.
Well, I'm not gonna get that technical.
First year's always a lower year.
Yeah. No, I know, but it's just like, because we're gonna go down and then, probably 40% higher in 24, 25.
So, just so you know, the planning survey themes, back in 2020, the Talon Hall was mentioned, I guess, in that survey. It says, why not replace Talon Hall? Talon Hall needs updates and heating. That's all I have, and there she is.
What I do?
Nothing
I
yet.
apologize for my tardiness.
That's all right.
Which survey was that? That was the one the planning committee did?
That was the planning board committee.
Yeah, the
survey,
townwide survey
kind
we
of,
did.
yeah.
Scats. No need to, I haven't mastered how to spell it.
We're down to tennis courts, so tennis courts are
Well, at the
either a
bottom of
D
the
or an
recreation
F.
commission.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go back and review.
That's
Yeah.
I'll pick it up.
This is draft pass.
Right.
Just FYI.
First take.
So everybody's on the same page of refreshers.
So just so you know, police department, we've marked right now as urgent.
Oh, that's a good one. Yep.
Fire department, we've marked as urgent. Highway department, the warrant article, necessary.
Okay.
We think we put deferred for the heavy-duty plow dump truck,
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
just so you know.
The
And
other two trucks are,
we just went through recreation.
Gotcha.
We have necessary for Sawmill Brook Park. We're kind of did a pass on a couple of these because we want to
Yep.
go back and review them. And now we're at,
Well, I've got desirable noted for Talent Hall.
For Talent Hall.
For the
right,
parking lot.
sorry,
Yeah.
So now we're trying to decide the tennis courts.
the tennis courts. So that's where we're at.
Gotcha.
So-
Yes.
Well, you're caught up.
Mostly.
Dana's point
So-
was that
so-
if you're gonna do the rest of summer, the tennis courts
Yeah.
would match up with that.
Well, I thought, yeah, because I kind of thought the whole purpose of the Sawmill Brook Park was tied into the resurfacing of the tennis courts, removing the striping of the
Pickleball.
Yeah.
pickleball and
Yeah.
stuff. So kind of,
Well, and that's what we're discussing, because we were trying to get a head count of people using the tennis courts.
Right.
how would you do that?
I don't know. Well, I mean, we were asking if
I've
there
never
was
seen
kids at the
anybody
school that
using it,
played
but-
or something to get some kind of data.
The comment was made that the high school tennis team couldn't play their tournaments if they had pickleball striping.
That's why we're
Christina said
asking
she
about
didn't-
the team.
wasn't aware there was a team.
Oh,
Well, let me check.
Yeah, I don't believe there is a team. I'm trying to look into that. There isn't
Yeah.
one listed on the webpage. that's
Somebody
listed.
seems to think there's,
Maybe they had to go out of
So-
business because they didn't have a
Sure,
place to
they had
play
to
because of the
even play there.
pickleball
Was there one in the
stripes.
budget?
No, so we've got baseball, lacrosse, outdoor track, softball.
which is kind of surprising because tennis is a fairly, I would,
Maybe it's because you got pickleball striping.
Yeah. so
it could
they
be.
had-
I grew up with a
Maybe-
tennis
Could
team,
be.
so I didn't realize we
maybe
didn't
that
have
was
one.
his argument, that we would have tennis players if we had a place for them to play.
Well, I don't
I'm
think-
trying to
yeah.
remember the conversation.
Right, I don't think we should just limit it to the high school though, because I actually have seen people,
No,
Yeah.
use
well, are they
the-
playing pickleball or are they playing tennis?
tennis, I've seen people play tennis there.
Okay. Because apparently it's got all kinds of
Pickleball
striping graffiti.
No,
all over.
no, I also, wasn't there somebody pre-COVID that was offering like tennis lessons out there too? So I think,
I thought there was.
so I think it gets use, it's
I'm
just,
sure it gets
Well,
used,
and if it was
just-
resurfaced with these new stripes and mats,
Right.
it might get more use.
right.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's a really good location, within walking distance of a lot of neighborhoods, so,
Yep.
or biking for
Well,
those.
there's plenty of parking down there
Oh,
too.
there's absolutely plenty
Yeah.
of parking, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any indication that we have a tennis team.
No tennis.
I
team.
would
So
have
don't
it be
feel so bad not knowing there
necessary
was
and
one.
necessary.
So it's-
Sorry.
it's
Count
tennis
and
courts of
the
dreams
parking
now.
up there.
Well, I guess.
For,
Yeah.
So is it an N, is it a D?
I mean,
I'd say
I'm
N.
kind of compelled
N.
to go to N because it just
Yeah.
couples together with the other one.
Well, I was gonna say
At
the
least
same
for
thing.
draft.
I
It's
mean,
one whole
You have
project.
Sawmill Brook Park, and then you've got, I mean, they go together.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm in a buffet and I want to eat everything right now, and I'm
Yeah.
just.
All right, so that's necessary. All
Yeah,
right.
at least,
Okay.
first cut.
Right.
Right. So it takes us to library.
Takes us to library.
But
Library
that's ARPA
improvements.
funds,
That's-
so-
Well, we have it.
Yep, oh, you're right, that's ARPA.
Yeah.
Call.
Well, it's ARPA, but
Was that a
they still
placeholder?
need to come back and define what their
Right.
spending is, right?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, they're bundled.
right.
And if we're done, I guess they have to take it in front of the selectmen? So if we finalize, then they
Right.
have to go to the selectmen to get the final sign off, I guess. So,
So that takes us to the
you
land
snooze, you lose, I
purchase.
guess.
Urgent.
For what, the library?
The
Land
Oh,
purchase.
the land purchase?
No, Conservation
Right,
Commission.
Yeah, I think that just, I mean,
Desirable?
what did we have the last time?
Just
I should have, I
one
know I have this
second.
document somewhere. I think I pulled it up on my machine at home.
Keep pulling it up and then closing it by mistake.
Yeah, I know.
I look at these things
Conservation
during the
land
week and
acquisition was, the last time it was desirable.
It's desirable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary then at least.
I'm with you on that one.
There's only so
You
much
say
land.
necessary too?
I do.
Well, I mean, it's the.
Somebody's trying to break
Somebody's
in.
trying, oh, they're
Maybe
coming
they want to turn the
around.
heat on. Oh, it's my husband.
Hey, the
Is he bringing a
results,
space
Need to
heater?
bring in my coat.
the results of the survey indicated that people are very interested in conserving land.
Right.
So I think that in order to meet the will of the people and to show that we've listened to them, to me, it's necessary.
Well, and if land becomes available and the,
Right.
the owner wants to sell it, they're not gonna
I mean,
wait
yeah,
for
it's a
6
timing
years
problem
to
for
sell
sure.
it.
Right.
They need to have money available to purchase land.
Absolutely.
And once the land is gone, it's gone.
Right.
So there's a limited commodity
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
we-
necessary.
Yeah, we need to get it.
And I mean, the Conservation Commission has worked hard. They put together a
Very
land
hard.
preservation
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
booklet
very
or
thorough.
They're on
strategy.
top
that's
of
very
it.
thorough.
So I think they've
Earned
certainly
in.
earned that.
All right,
That was the one I had to unbury everything else because I think that was really big.
it was big.
Yeah, it was.
And they were okay with splitting it up along this way to
Yeah, that's the way we
Yes.
did it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's just looking at the bottom line number, it's a lot
Yeah,
more
there's no
palatable.
spikes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's not like-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, for 23 anyway.
yeah.
That's why I had to get the 22.
But once you do that jump, then it's more of a, it's still again, it's like the
Yeah.
plateaus again, kind of, relatively.
Right, right.
Relatively, obviously.
Relatively, yeah.
Well, just so you know, for 22, our bottom line total was 2.723 and change. So there's a
Yay.
dip, it is a dip and a spike.
Well, I think part of it is like 23 is being offset, right, by a lot of ARPA
ARPA
funds.
funds, right.
So if we had to actually pay for these out of,
No, 100%.
then 23 would actually be more in line with the rest of
Be
them.
2.5, so
Right,
yeah,
right,
more or
yeah.
less. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's another 100,000, right?
Yeah, I know, but, people,
No, I know,
Well,
it
you're,
is,
you're afraid people get
People's
used to
reaction's gonna be very
1.6 and then
different.
it going
Well,
up, yeah.
we're rationalizing numbers on a page.
well, no, and to your
I know.
point, I think you're right, like, this you put forward before people, but knowing what else is coming down the line from other people, like, yeah, you're, it's gonna be
Yes.
some interesting conversations had in town over the next couple months.
But also
Sure.
keep in mind, it has to go to the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blessing, so
It's a
I,
good point to make, though, that if you add in those ARPA funds, It's more, I just don't wanna do that because it throws it, so.
No,
Yeah,
no, we did the right thing by
Right.
separating them for sure. I
But
just,
it's
I
it's
just
a point
think
to make.
in the
Right.
deck, we should call that out.
Because there's nothing saying that down the line that we might not also have the benefit of other ways of offsetting these things,
That's right.
which would be
Yes.
awfully nice.
Well,
Like,
That's right.
You know, these are the things that, you know, people are reluctant to want to vote on until they're broken and they can't get the trash taken care of. or the
Agreed.
snow
Well, or
plowed.
can't get their road plowed,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
because there aren't any,
Everybody's happy until
Yeah.
their stuff doesn't work.
everything's fine until it doesn't.
Until it
Exactly.
isn't, yeah.
And then that's
Right.
a
Exactly.
big
This
problem.
is preemptive. Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's happy not
Well-
buying a fire truck too
Sure.
till their house gets, impacted by it.
Well, yeah.
Then they wish
Exactly.
that they
Well, and by
bought a
having
fire.
Although the
this
truck
plan.
must be running pretty good because I just saw it doing a parade not too long ago. Just saying.
No comment, you know my feelings about the parades.
I'm
Okay.
Can't help it.
All right.
So
So
this is schools.
that's everything for the town.
I'm sorry, what did we decide on land purchase?
And
Necessary.
Necessary?
Yeah. So we go back to the school. Land purchase for new elementary school. So in 2023, 500,000, 6-year total cost, 500,000. GMS new school for grade pre-K to 4, 35 million. So beginning in 2023, 325,000. And then over the course of 2024 to 2028, you have $2,771,814.
Well, no, that would stay on for the 20, right?
Yeah, that's an annual
Yeah,
payment.
Well, that's-
a
yeah, the-
20-year bond at 2.7.
2.7.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 6-year total cost, so you have down 13,984,071. Total project cost 55,436,282. Balance to be paid by town beyond year 6, $41,452. I'm sorry, $41,452.
Yeah, with interest on the
211.
55 carry before you
So-
because I already asked.
I guess the question is, if it's listed at 35 million, why do I have a tag of 55 million?
Because it
Interest.
includes interest.
He amortized it out.
So it's not a $35 million project. So,
But that, this whole column.
Yeah, and I'll add a
this
note to
column
that,
is
that
including interest.
that all includes interest.
yeah, well,
And that
that's still, it's $20 million worth of interest then.
Right.
Yeah,
It
But
also
that's-
assumes no building aid.
Well, I
It's-
think that's a fair assumption, because I've said, I don't think we're getting a dime. So whatever people approve, we have to be comfortable with and prepared to pay in full, quite
Jay,
frankly.
the
happily
interest
surprised if we
is
don't.
true of all of the
All of
projects
the
on this,
projects,
thank
yes.
you. It's-
I know, but when we go out there and say it's a $35 million project, people are expecting to pay $35 million.
But
Yeah.
Carrie, your tone changes greatly when we start talking about school districts.
No, I'm just, well, my concern, quite
It was just
frankly,
warming
is,
up.
I'm pointing out, you say 35 million, the total cost is not 35 million. So as a taxpayer, it looks a little, ugh. So for full transparency, I don't think we should list it at 35 million, because people aren't, because that's a lot of interest. Just $20 million in interest?
Well, I think that's why we have the column of the total cost too, because I mean, I don't know how other towns do it too. I mean, I think a lot of times people say, this is our project, whether it's a police
Yeah.
station or a fire station, this is, it's gonna be 6 million, but over the total project cost with interest, it's gonna be this
Right.
amount. So I think they always show two numbers.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to what's the warrant gonna say?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have the cost of the bond on the warrant.
We'll
Carrie.
have to look and see, well, I look forward to seeing your warrant article.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about, do the other departments put it on there without interest, or they put it in with interest? Because that would be really.
You pay for the bond, I mean.
That's really shady if you're saying, here's your percentage increase of tax, and you're not accounting for, obviously, to your point, yeah, they all have interest, but I mean, $20 million of interest, it overshadows the entire
Well,
budget. of
you
town.
would put for the new police facility, just to compare apples to apples, you would put the full amount, the total
100%,
project
that's what I'm
cost
saying.
in the bond.
I mean, that's what
Right.
I'm saying, because
Yeah.
otherwise you say, okay, it's, 25 cents, whatever, and it's really not, it's 45 cents, you know what I mean?
right, right.
I mean, and yes, because that's probably the next biggest thing, yeah. that's really 6.5.
Right.
Now, I just have a question
The
about the,
3.3
so
or
if the,
whatever.
if we went with the program to repair, to renovate and repair the old school, so would that be a bond also? But there's no.
Yes.
It would have to
So you
be.
left that, you didn't put the figures in because we're going, they want the first
Because the
option.
priorities in the
Okay.
school, right?
Yeah, that's why, because otherwise it would just mess up all the bottom line.
I see,
numbers for
right,
us.
In a
Okay,
big
got you.
way.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
We're not
but if
asking
I,
for both.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
So, but I think for consistency, all the warrant articles should show with interest over the term
Right.
and what the actual impact is. Because otherwise,
I'd agree.
who's gonna sit there with a calculator and amortize out all these projects? Nobody.
While they're in the voting booth.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it's a fair discussion. I don't know if it's our
It's a
purview.
good discussion. I think, listen, for consistency, I should probably just adjust the police department up from 2%, because I don't think that's a realistic number. even
Yeah.
though
Right.
that's
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we need to target as close as we can.
Would it be about the same for
Yeah,
municipalities?
I
It
would have to think it
Okay.
would
Be
be.
a little bit less because it's 10 years than the 20-year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, well, I'll advocate.
I mean,
The need is still very urgent for the land purchase and for the new GMS.
And I'll just say basically that when we did this last time, that was marked as urgent. I don't know if we want to change that but that's what it was last time, so.
I think the need is still very urgent. That hasn't changed.
so I guess the one question I do have about the school, how many people bid on this contract that you guys put this out?
What part of it?
To get the estimate to build it?
Well, I think we had 4 architects bid for
Okay.
that part of the project, and I think we had 3 to 4. I don't remember the original numbers. We interviewed 3 different construction companies, but there were a few more than that we discounted as not qualified.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was all
Did
signed
they-
before I got.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Did they actually give you numbers, estimates on everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How could they though? They didn't have a land cited at the time that you did the
Yeah.
design. So there's a lot of,
Well, the land is broken out from the price of the.
Yeah.
No, we
Okay.
understand that.
No, they didn't have a site to build
Right,
it, but in our request for proposals, we had how many students, we projected enrollment, we had how many square feet per student due to state guidelines. I mean, we had basically the outlines of what we are looking for in a school building.
Mhm.
We looked at the qualifications on whether or not they would able to take on a project of this scope, had done schools in New Hampshire, had done energy efficient schools with net zero or passive house qualifications, those
Mhm.
kinds of things. So,
Is it the same people that are doing LMS? Or is it a different group?
no, it's a different group.
But the same group gave you the estimate on the current building that's there for the repair site, right? That's
No.
what we discussed last time.
What was that?
That whoever came up with the $25 million repair
Mhm.
cost was the same people that are doing the school.
That's
They gave
the
you the estimate for the
that was the
school.
architect, yes.
Architect, yeah.
So his scope of work was to, at first, actually, we had said we were going to look into building up on the LMS site.
Yep.
Up by LMS. So his job was to do a feasibility study to see
Mhm.
whether renovation was possible, whether building on that site was possible, building on another site.
Yep.
Another area of the GMS property was possible. And so, yeah, as part of that feasibility study, he did the estimate for repairs and renovations, because
And he
that was an
the-
option we were
and-
exploring.
And he was the only one that did the estimate on the repairs? Just,
Yes, because we had hired him to do a feasibility study.
So repairs and expansion, because we got the
Right,
modulars
in
out there too,
addition.
so you wouldn't want
Right.
to keep, if you're gonna repair a school, you wouldn't wanna keep the modulars going as well.
No, I totally
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah,
It's just
so
for- for me, I
repairs,
mean-
Renovation and expansion.
I mean, if I was a contractor and I was doing something,
Mhm.
given an estimate on repairs versus a new school,
So
you
we
know,
had that
put
price
yourself in their shoes.
a little bit lower, and at our last board meeting, one of the board members asked to raise it, and that got approved to raise to 25 million, just as we kind of look at
Okay.
what it would cost for the repairs as well as
Site
to
work.
house the students while the repairs are going on too. You know, you do the repairs in piecemeal, but there would still have to be some students that couldn't be
So,
in the
yeah,
building.
migration, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's all rolled into that number.
And I would say that the 35 million number is more firm than the 25 million number, because that was the direction that people were going.
Well, I don't know about that, because I think we were somewhere in the same ballpark the last time we went around this, so.
How do you mean?
The number was almost the same, the last time we did the sheet,
The number for what?
for the school. Well, do we have the target number for the last one?
Mhm.
Because I thought it was really similar. What was the total?
Engineering
25?
construction cost was 70,000,
Yeah, but that's different.
2%, 30% building.
There should have been a total for the target value of the school. 24?
I think it is.
25? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that, and
Yeah,
that
24.
year.
But that was with interest, right?
We
That was the total
also,
project cost.
we also
Okay.
assumed 30% building aid the last round.
Right,
Okay.
And that was deducted from that target?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
So it would have been right around 30, 32,
Probably.
somewhere in the
I
ballpark.
think, what is our rate? Are we at 30, we're not at 30%, are we? If we were to receive building aid,
No, we'd be at 30%.
it
So
would
we'd
be,
be at
okay.
10, well, right around 10 million.
Yeah,
Because
so
we
it'd be a third.
put in at the time for a $32 million project roughly, so I think it would be around 10 million.
Yeah.
But 35 goes with, you had to add in the architecture fees and the other fees as well, so it's that total, getting you close to that total cost.
Okay.
Obviously without interest, but total cost
Yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
interest.
Okay.
So the building aid, I mean, is that competitive? You go out to bid for that,
Yeah.
or is that?
Well, it's a whole
Yeah,
process
he
run
said-
by the state, and they
Yeah.
come and they visit each school, and, you know, they look at the school conditions and they rank it on different factors. They put their rankings together about 2 weeks ago, finalized them, and we were 5th out of 17 schools, 17 projects. That still has to go in front of, I don't know if it's the executive council or something, so that's the recommendations, and then it goes in front of either the House or Executive Council, and then it gets finalized there. And again, it's whether more or less building aid money finds its way into the overall pot as well. Right now, the first couple projects would take all of the building aid, but that doesn't mean that they might not add more. Or that the first couple projects, you know, their warrant article has to pass in their town as well, so they're not being funded at 100%. So, you know, the town would have to agree to do their portion
So
of
they
it
get a
too.
contingent placeholder,
Right,
right?
so
So if they don't, if the town, like if the town of Rochester, which is number one, doesn't pass their warrant article, well, then they won't get the building aid.
Right, right, that's what I
So
mean, there's a
then the building aid
contingency.
then
on it.
falls down
Yeah.
from there.
Okay.
So we're looking at all of those kinds of things that are happening too, and trying to be strategic as to position ourselves so that we, you know, could possibly get building aid.
Yeah.
And when do we, you know, when do we go forward with it? Is it now? Is it 24? Is it 25? So,
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, what's the timing on that? So, you just said if Rochester doesn't pass their warrant, was it next March they're gonna put their warrant in to validate, or the following year? I mean,
This March.
This
Yeah.
March. all
It's
of
a-
them, right?
It's a 2-year cycle too, so.
so if it fails, it resets for the following 2 years, or you get reprioritized up the stack?
Well, for example, if Rochester, I don't want to, I'd have to.
I mean, we're not gonna, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get an idea, because I know it's, you know, government, so, you know, they might change their
I
minds.
think the trade, since we're not going for it until next year, I think if Rochester fails, they might have another chance to go at it. Because we're not planning on going at it until next year. If we were having it on the warrant article this year, and if Rochester, Colebrook, and other people failed, and our warrant passed, well, then the money could find itself to us.
Right.
But for the purposes of this, we're not assuming building aid.
No, yeah, no, just, I'm trying to figure out the over under.
Yeah, so are we.
on the award.
And again, even though our hope is for 10 million, we could possibly get 2 million, 3 million.
Yeah.
Any bit will help type of thing. So it's not an all or nothing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, going back to how this whole conversation started,
Yeah.
around the land, I mean, I'm good with putting the land up. I mean, I guess the only thing is, if the school falls through under, warrant the following year, I guess, what do we do?
How many acres are you talking about?
I don't know.
For the land purchase,
35?
35, I think.
I think what we heard was that the PNS is contingent. so-
It is.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Okay.
And it is, it's great land, it's a great location for Litchfield. It's got a lot of positive factors for it.
What other contingencies are there on the purchase and sale?
I don't know. Yeah, Dr. Jetty's been working more with that than I have. I can see if I can bring it up at all.
Like, does the seller get to have naming rights, or?
The seller does get to have naming rights on the purchase and sales.
I know that Dr. Jetty is working with the seller to work together on a press release, which we're hoping will come out soon, with the location and, all of those contingencies laid out clearly.
So I guess, where do we stand in terms of a ranking for GMS? For a new school?
Although not necessarily, it probably makes sense to have a consistent priority for the land purchase and the school itself, since they're obviously linked.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And?
I don't know how you go from urgent for the last 2 years to anything other than urgent. Frankly.
I think what helps is the rank in the building aid. Being 5 without any free and reduced is showing that the
I
state,
know, but I mean,
when they toured our
there's almost
school-
next to no guarantee on it. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Not so much the building aid itself, but the ranking of it shows
Right.
that when the state toured our school and the 16 other areas, that they ranked Litchfield as the number 5 priority, and that's taking into consideration, most of the schools above us have more than 0 points for free and reduced lunch. Rochester had 200 points, and I think
I think Concord had 100 points,
Concord had 100
which
points.
is the next
Yeah.
one above us.
Keep in mind, it's, it's a recommendation. The ultimate arbiter of this is the Board of Selectmen, if they choose to move forward with it.
Well, for sure. I'm just trying to level set in my head, because
I
it's just a
understand.
lot of stuff
I
coming up all
understand.
at the same time.
That's why we have this chart, so you
I
can
know,
see
but
the long-term
that's
plan.
what I was saying at the beginning before you got here. It's like, we just can't put urgent and necessary on everything, because we can't eat everything at the buffet. That's,
Right.
Well, do you just want to put a pass on it for now and we'll come back to it?
No.
I don't know.
Well, we-
No, I just want to make sure we're moving things
Clear,
along,
she
that's all. I
wants
don't
urgent.
wanna-
We understand your position.
Christina
The
wants
problem
urgent
is,
on everything on
we
this
need to look
list,
at this
and everybody
holistically.
else does
I
it, so that's where we
understand. I know
stand.
it's a big pill to swallow, but the
It's a huge
current-
pill to swallow. This is gigantic.
But the
Right.
current capital improvement plan that was approved from 2020 to 2026, GMS, the new building,
I understand, but we're
was
doing another
ranked
session. We're allowed to
number one.
rediscuss this and reprioritize this.
But I don't understand why it wouldn't be an urgent need.
So we're trying to figure out. I mean, because there's a lot of urgent needs, right? I mean, the policemen are sitting on each other's laps in the police station because they don't have enough room to sit and do their work. You know, we need a fire engine, even though that's cut down because of ARPA. I mean, there's just a lot of things stacking up all at the same time here, right?
So I guess my question is, what's different now?
Because there's two conversations, right? Like what's urgent and then what's the ranking too. So would this fall down in urgent? Maybe, I don't know, maybe it falls down in the ranking. I don't know, but would it really fall down in?
Well, I don't think the urgency level changes. I think we still mark it as urgent, but then we have to really look at this calendar and figure out what's gonna happen. I mean, because either way, we're gonna have overlap for at least 10 years, right? I mean, the police station's gonna be a burn of 10-year bond, right? And over top of either a 20 or 25, which is the school.
On top of the one we're currently paying for the
And
budget.
on top of the one for this. So. And that's why this starts to
And
get
the
complicated and
Middle
sticky.
school.
Oh, yeah, in the middle school,
Right.
lease payment, so it's,
Other than building aid, I mean, is there any other opportunity for grants for
Yes.
schools and stuff? I mean, I'm not familiar with them, but I
In
mean.
particular for this school, because we're going for Passive House certified and net zero. So there are energy grants that could be used, energy rebates that could be used to offset the cost, but we can't count on them when we plan, 10 years into the future. The same would go for if there are rebates, and grants available for the police station or for the fire truck.
How much would those grants be? I mean.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, part of the grants are tied to the Inflation Reduction Act, which got passed this summer, and which goes through the IRS with final kind of rulings in February of this year type of thing. Some of it, I
So
think-
February 23, we won't have a final answer on that? They just said, here's something cool's coming, but good luck figuring it out until next year.
Well, I think they have IRS usually has about 6 months, I think it is, to write things, exactly what.
They get more
it's gonna
time than
look
we
like.
get. What's up with that? I mean, what do you guys think? We mark it as urgent and then we start going back through and look at the dates? Because I mean, I don't think the urgency of the project's the question, right? So much as the timing and the convergence of everything else.
Again, I understand that. I just think that a lot of these things are things that, you can't continue to kick down the road. They have to be, capital improvements have to be addressed at some point.
Oh, I understand that, but, I mean.
And I mean that across the board. I'm not just saying that
100%.
for the school district.
And that's kind of, this is why this always gets sticky. We went through this the last time too.
Okay.
So do we have any consensus?
I mean, if you did mark it as urgent, could you put some sort of, I don't know, like a footnote or something to explain that,
For which part?
for the, I guess both the land purchase and the new school, that there is a contingency.
100%.
And,
I mean, that's the toe in the water, right? If that fails, then the school's going with it, right? That's kind of like the light in the wick.
Then they
No,
It's
you're
either
right.
gonna burn out or it's gonna blow
It's a
up.
step. It's a step,
Yeah.
and then you're
Right.
gonna tell, this March whether it fails or doesn't fail. The land, yeah.
That's kind of the litmus, right?
Right, and then that also determines whether you try next year for the renovation.
Yeah.
So if you put in an article for the land purchase and it didn't pass, you would do it another time?
We would.
The following year?
Well,
As you said,
we
you had
would-
2 years on the
I think we'd look at by the
purchases, yeah.
percent it didn't pass and kind of make some decisions from that, but the plan would be to put it forward the following year, as of now.
Right, okay.
But
I
if it
understand.
didn't
So you
pass, then
wouldn't go
like-
right to the repair of GMS?
No.
No. But if
But
it,
you're
I mean, if
holding out for the
90%
new
of people
school.
said, no, don't buy the land, that would tell us something different than if 60% or 70% said, yeah.
I see,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
You're gonna judge it when
Yeah.
it comes.
What was the district-wide capital improvements? Do you remember what that covered? The 125?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I have it in my
Seems like a
notes.
drop in the bucket compared to everything else. Yeah.
The 125?
Yeah,
that
what was the bundling of that? I just don't remember. Not the one that's, not the first, not for 23 for the school. We know that's architectural fees and all that.
so
fun.
that-
It was
That
line
was to
4.
put money into the capital improvement fund, kind of the rainy day fund.
Rainy day fund, yeah.
To
So that-
replace money that you're spending for this other
Right.
shortfall that you had over the LMS project?
Well, to replace some of it, but it goes beyond just replacing that amount. It's more than that amount as well. But it's also because the newest building, the high school, is now 22 years old. So things are starting to fail there as well.
Replenish.
So what
I
was
see, I
your,
don't understand why something in a 22-year-old building, why are so many things failing? Wasn't anybody watching when it was being built?
There are
How
a
could
lot of-
things that, like you say, they use shoddy, piping in the irrigation system, was anybody looking at it?
My understanding is that they didn't commission it, so they didn't have anybody. and
How
that's my
about the
understanding. I just
piping,
need
how
to-
about the LMS access road and all of the piping there that is just collapsing? I mean, there's water mains in cities that are 200 years old that are still operating. How could these just collapse after 20, that school's 22 years, no, that one's how old did he say that one was?
LMS is about 40 years old.
40 years old, but I mean, I just don't understand how everything could be falling apart. Do we just buy substandard everything? Don't they check, don't they have anybody looking at it when they're building it? Don't they have
So I don't
a
believe they
clerk
had a
of the
commissioning
works?
agent for the high school. I mean, there's even problems with expansion joints at the high school because they didn't put them in every.
So do they have some kind of
software
plan in this $35 million grammar school that somebody's gonna watch to make sure that we're
Yes,
getting
we'll
what we're
have
paying
commissioning.
We'll
for?
have a
Yep.
commissioning agent.
Just checking.
And that is
'Cause I don't
the
wanna be
case.
sitting here, have people sitting here in 10 years and you say, well, it's falling apart because they didn't do
We
this,
don't-
that, and the other thing. They
we
poured
don't
the
either,
concrete when it was
Mary.
wet,
Don't
they
want that
didn't,
either. Yeah.
Yep,
because it
And then,
seems like
and
a
then
lot of
we
things
can
here
put
are
the
just falling
commissioning
apart.
agent in the town square and let people throw rocks at them if things are wrong. I don't know. I mean, that,
We'd have to have a warrant article for that.
warrant article, pitchforks and torch
That would
warrant
pass,
article.
that would pass with 100%.
I mean, that's almost an empty guarantee for me, because,
Yeah, I know.
that's only as good as the person that comes and looks at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I guess is better than nothing,
right.
but not 100%, right?
I think what I've heard too at CHS is there was a lot of value engineering that happened that, cuts
Well, that's
were
a very
made.
politically
A lot of
correct
what?
way to say
A lot
that.
That
of
is
value
not value
engineering.
Value
engineering.
engineering.
What does that mean?
That
I
is
don't
not
understand.
value engineering. Value engineering is saying, hey, I can get a cheaper light fixture, but I'm not that is not cut the commissioning agent. That is not value engineering. That is
I
bad
was-
practice.
I wasn't on the board at the time, but that's my understanding of what had happened.
Well, I mean, the past is the past, I guess, my question is, and part of my struggle here is, how do we shore up the failing infrastructure that we have? And then, it's just a lot to bite off right here.
I hear you.
I mean, energy efficiency.
Well, the energy efficiency is probably advancements in.
That's the seven,
Yes.
that's the 771.
And that would be to,
And then the 555 for the LMS, I guess, is to repair the far end where the temp buildings were, plus other
now the
componentry.
LMS pavement, what, I don't.
That was
what are you
all the
looking at?
piping, all the
Oh,
drain
that's what
pipes.
that was.
Drainage under
Yeah.
the.
Widening the
road.
access road, et
Yeah.
cetera.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I guess there's an irrigation problem at the school and,
Yeah, we've repaired that, but that needs to be replaced.
The pumps have been replaced, but the
Yeah.
tubing itself.
Right.
But again, that's not in any of the years because, the goal would be to use the,
Well, you'd
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
impact fees for
Yeah.
that, right?
or the rainy day building repairs fund.
Okay, special funds, I
So
see.
apparently they didn't do a very good job with the irrigation at, Roy
Yeah,
Memorial
not there either, right?
Oh, it's
Apparently
April,
they
right?
use garbage bags and duct tape to put pipe in.
Just aren't working.
And the last two are beyond the period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right, okay.
And this covers everything. There's no more magical surprises of something else that's gonna fall apart.
Well, we hope not.
I hope no. Yeah.
And everything's been assessed at this point.
Well, they're leading us believe this team has their finger on the pulse of what's going on at the school, so we're trusting that this is it.
And the primary factor really in driving your ranking is your perception of the relative need for the project. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, and then trying to balance it,
Right.
yeah.
Well, as I said, I mean, if you wanted to make it urgent, we could put something.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying, I mean, it's a fall through, right? It's a Boolean valid, we check, if the land doesn't go through, right? Then it's kind of a collapse
It's
for
a
the rest of it.
reassess it after you see what
You know,
happened.
unless it's like off by a vote or two or whatever, then I guess this, maybe push it again through the following year, but, I mean, it's definitely the catalyst to light the wick or not, so. But they're conjoined, right? I mean, there's,
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see how they.
Yeah, they are, right,
Maybe,
because you don't
yeah.
need the land if you're not gonna
I
do
mean,
the school.
Yeah.
The first three are kind of joined in some ways, either or type of thing, because
well, yeah, I mean,
something
well,
needs to,
the ones,
want something to
it's a
happen.
fall through, right?
yeah.
So,
Right.
And the selectmen would have to decide about impact fees, obviously, whether to issue those.
how would they issue impact fees off something that's not passed? They just do a projected?
It's got to be in the CIP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotta be in the plan.
So even if it's in here, they can, all right.
Yeah, they can use it, because the CIP is sort of the advisory document.
Gotcha,
So,
okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Well, this end of the table's been very vocal, I'm just,
I do not share a popular opinion at this table, so I'm just sitting here and allowing you guys
Well, I
to
think
do your.
everybody should say what they
Well,
think.
I mean, yeah, I think everybody needs to get
What do you think?
get everything on the table before
I
we.
appreciate that the school feels that it's an urgent need.
Well, are you of the opinion that the repairs and
I didn't get a
renovation-
chance to finish looking through the document that was sent, but I didn't pull out 25 million from the executive summary, so I have to look in a little more detail. I question the 25 million, quite frankly.
I did too.
I don't feel that that's an accurate number, but
Inflated so that would make
But I
us wanna
can't,
go
I
for
have,
the new one.
I have to, I'm not saying that. I am saying that I'm not comfortable with the 25 million. But I haven't had a chance to really deep dig into the report itself. My gut is that it's high. My gut is that 35 is low.
Yeah.
That's low even without the.
Well, I see the
interest?
55, and then I start thinking, yeah,
Well, I mean,
that's more what I'm
That's
thinking.
the amortized interest,
But I get
you
that's
know.
with interest, but I think 35 is not a real number.
But realistically, you're not going to do both. So if you do decide that the new school is, whether it's urgent or necessary or whatever, then realistically, the 25 for the renovation will be deferrable, because we're not going to put the dollar amount in there for that.
Right, right.
If you
For-
decide the opposite, then we'll flip it, but.
For the purpose of developing impact fees, I'm fine with the new school, because I think we need to start charging,
You
but
touch-
it's still subject to voter approval, right?
Well, sure.
So we could say, sure, we want it, and the taxpayers can say, no, thank you, but at least our impact fee will be set.
So
Oh, Lord.
I can kind of explain, I guess, where the 25,000 for the repairs and renovations came
Million.
from.
Million.
25.
I'll take it for
yeah, thank you.
25,000.
I know, right?
Yeah, me
That would be a
too.
dream.
We'll vote on it now.
So we
wouldn't even
discussed
be-
it at our
we wouldn't
last.
be talking about it if it's
We
25,000.
discussed it when we went over this in facilities. The feasibility study included looking at how much it would cost to renovate and add on so that we could have a adequate space. That came in at, I think it was about 18 million, because it was at least 18 million because the findings were that the renovations and additions were at least met the 60% threshold for whether or not the state recommendation is to build a new school or renovate and do additions. So if it's above 60% of the total cost of a new building, the state recommends that you build the new building. So, and it was at least at that threshold, and I believe that number was the 18 million.
So they recommend, but they're not likely to give us any money.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was
can
just
they
gonna say.
stop us?
They haven't said they're not likely to give us any money. They ranked us 5th based on life and safety needs.
I appreciate your optimism.
I have to be. I'm in the business of education. I have to be optimistic.
I mean, they can't stop you from renovating, you just wanna look at the
Right.
building and say, is it worth it, type of thing.
Right.
And that's a
Conversation.
Yeah, but if they were saying, yes, you know, that's your target threshold, here's some money, we're gonna help you with state
Well,
funds.
I understand
Then
that.
I think, you know,
But we
there'd
also
probably be a
have,
little more weight in that statement.
but we also have to look at long-term, what are the issues that face us with the current with the current building? And what issues will remain after we do complete renovations and addition, and there are several that will still remain. So that's
Could you
what
just give us
that's what-
those in a nutshell, because I
Yes.
didn't get a chance to read the lengthy report.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, the proximity to 3A is dangerous. That's a life and safety issue. Doug, you've read the building aid.
Yeah, so it's proximity to 3A, it's groundwater level is high there as well. As far as renovating there too, there's a decent portion of it which the same block that you have inside is the same block outside too, but we're going to why you wouldn't want to kind of go from the same location.
Right.
yeah.
Mostly why
So-
that location isn't ideal.
Yeah, so it's a lot of it has to do with the proximity to 3A and the water table.
It's also
Yeah.
nestled in a steep corner of the property. So any building renovations that have to happen, we're not even sure we could do, because most of them would have to happen in that first grade wing that's right along the property line. And we don't own, the school district doesn't own, there's like a drainage swale back there, and the property line is pretty much in the middle of that drainage swale.
Uh-huh.
So to do any work, demolition or et cetera, it would be very difficult to access that part of the building. There are questions about ADA compliance, mostly the drainage issues. We would have to reroute the drainage on that site, which would be really costly. We would need new additions in order to keep everybody in one building and not have modular classrooms. Right now, we have six classes outside in the portables.
What grades are in that school? Is it kindergarten through?
Pre-K to
Pre-K.
4.
Oh, pre-K.
Yeah, four and
I
then
see.
modulars, there's
Pre-K.
kindergarten,
Right.
preschool, I think. So,
Right.
yeah.
Another safety concern is the parking lot is insufficient, so that would have to completely come out.
And it's too close to the road too, which
Right.
backs up the road, which then causes further safety concerns. Well, not just concerns.
Now, has there ever been an issue with, a safety issue with 3A? I mean, has
Yes.
anybody gotten hit by a car, or has there
There-
been a?
Actually, was it last school year? Or
not
this,
sure.
in the fall, there was an accident right in front of GMS during the morning drop-off time. We have buses.
I know, but I'm talking about kids on recess. Has anybody run out in the road and
Not
gotten
on
hit by a
recess,
car?
but we have had students leave inside the building, and the proximity to 3A, while they haven't gotten hit by a car, it's certainly something that could.
I mean, as a graduate of that school, we were right on 3A. We didn't have a fence. We all made it. just saying.
I understand. I understand. I think things are a little different now. We have a big, I don't know, there's buses are driving onto the parking lot so that we can dismiss kids to the buses while parents are picking up their kids at the end of the day. There's just a lot of traffic routing issues that site makes very difficult.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at a blank column here.
I'm contemplating.
What do you think, Marion?
Well, my own personal opinion is that I would go for renovating and repairing and not building a new school. That would be my choice, but since they've chosen to put it as their priorities as land purchase and a new school, then I say we put those in and then see how the taxpayers feel.
So would you put it in as an urgent?
If you put it in as urgent in the past, I guess it's urgent. I don't know, I probably would think maybe necessary, since the urgent things we've decided were the fire truck and the police station, but I'm willing to, go to either side on that.
What's the definition of urgent?
It's the highest priority.
Like,
Yeah.
the world will stop if we don't pass it? Or is it, will education,
Grind to all.
will it be?
I don't think we defined it with that much detail.
Yeah.
I think
Or
it's-
is
it's
it
immediate.
necessary because we feel, we need this to better improve our children's education? I mean, to me, there's,
Usually it's a little higher than necessary. Necessary means that it's needed. Urgent means it rises to a higher level than that, like there are life and safety issues, like there are overcapacity issues. Those kinds of
Yeah.
things usually are what pushes it to urgent from necessary.
So currently, when there's humidity in the spring and fall, they run the industrial fans in the hallway, because if not, then the hallway gets coated and people would be more likely to slip. And so as soon as the door is open, then you hear that fan noise. So I taught for 9 years that would not be a great thing to teach with that amount of noise that in and out. The HVAC system there, heating, it depends on where you are in the building, is my understanding, as far as like how warm you are. Whether you're a kid who wears a coat more in the winter, or whether you don't have to wear a coat.
Oh, like here tonight.
So like here, yeah, right now it's not great here.
Well, I don't see the HVAC for the fire department on this list, just saying.
No, of course not.
It works, it's just not on.
Right, yeah.
it's expensive.
That's right.
I'm okay with
we're all
that.
And that's the
sacrificing.
other thing, I mean, GMS is currently our most expensive building to operate because of the inefficiency of the building, because it's on oil heat.
Yeah.
We're spending a lot of money operating that building because it's such an inefficient building, it's got a lot of deficiencies.
Yeah, so it's very spread out. You got parts of the renovation, which I was talking about a little bit before that. The inside block is the same as the outside block, so it's just a lot of money going towards heating and,
They're not insulated blocks? Have we
Nope.
actually done a thermal analysis, like a radar gun?
Yes, that's all on that webpage that I shared.
Pete, what do you think?
Why do I gotta be the head of this train?
No.
I was the
Just
head of the
give
rest
them
of
a
them.
I already spoke.
Well, I asked Marion.
Well, what was your ranking?
Oh, I said I would go for renovation and repairs because.
No, I know, but I mean, we have the priority.
Oh, well, then that would, I would say that it's necessary, but they said it was already urgent, and so it should be urgent. So I said I'm willing to be persuaded that it could be urgent. And leave it with what they choose and let the taxpayers decide.
I mean, I'm fine with leaving it urgent. I just,
Okay.
any other opinions?
Consensus?
I think there's a consensus probably, and I know Christina, I'm sure.
You know how I feel.
Yeah, I think we know all how you feel.
All right, so I'll put the land in the new school
Yes.
as urgent. And unless somebody disagrees, I
Sorry,
think we'll
gosh.
put a, for now, deferrable for
These things
the
fly over.
repairs.
Yes, put deferrable.
That takes us to district-wide capital improvements.
Okay.
And
Now,
you
is that
said
a
you're gonna
warrant
put a
article?
DR on the 25?
Yes.
But that also is contingent on,
The other two
The
going
other
through,
two.
right?
Yeah, and the asterisk says that
Right.
at the bottom. Obviously, we'll say more in the text, but the asterisk makes it.
yeah.
And I would just, as I said, I would put a footnote in there about the contingency piece, if we can, if the land
Yes,
purchase.
yes,
Yeah, we definitely want to put that in there.
yes.
Okay.
Do we define a threshold on that if it fails? However we want to do that?
About what?
Good.
Or put a note on it at the very least?
I didn't hear you,
I
Peter.
mean,
If there's a contingency on the land, right? Because
Mhm.
obviously you need the land to put the school on, because, the
right.
findings of everything else at the school, there's a lot of the property in there is unusable to build a building on.
Yeah, we'll put that in the,
Yeah.
Now, what'll be interesting is if it passes with like 52%, because that's not a good sign for a bond.
Yeah. Well, see, that's
So
what
what
I was getting to, though. It's just kind of like, what's the actual task there to either abandon and move to the, because the problem is, just like everything else, if that falls down, we have to fail over to the other one. Because, the longer that school sits there that way, it's just gonna get worse.
Right.
right.
And that's why that would be on the ballot. We had marked it on the ballot in March of '25, the year after we asked for the new school.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying, though. If the land fails, then it could go to 24. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, but we don't have to decide that now.
Yeah,
So we're down to district-wide capital improvements.
Yes.
correct.
And is that a warrant article?
So, if I
Yeah,
remember
there should
yeah,
be a
that's
warrant.
for
from the
the,
presentation.
for funds to be added to the capital reserve fund or the capital improvement expendable trust.
So that'd be an annual ask.
That was a replenishment plus.
Right.
What is the goal, what is the target amount for that fund?
Good question. I imagine that target would go down with the completion of the LMS renovations and the new GMS.
Yep, I think that's the best way of putting it. If GMS became a brand-new school or renovated, then we're less likely to have capital problem issues at those places with big type equipment failing. So it'd be down to the high school, which is 22 years, which is starting to show its age. LMS will be in a good position come this summer. And then at some point, the town will decide on what to do with the elementary school.
So this, you have it priority, the school has
Right.
it prioritized as committed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't get that word right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So non-urgent, I guess, it's at the next tier down, in our opinion.
Necessary.
So we had.
Necessary.
The
Okay.
first thing that we were interested in was the elementary school. Whether it
Necessary.
was brand new or renovated, something needs to happen.
Okay, necessary then for the capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think based on the debacle with these guys trying to figure out the prioritization, I think the instructions need to be updated for the next round of this to say low, medium, high, critical, and then that's their priority, and then we can do our super fancy stuff.
So we're gonna do necessary on the district-wide capital improvements? Is that what we decided?
Is
I
that
don't
the
know, is
consensus?
that what
Well, I
we
think that's
decided?
what the school is saying, their priority is necessary.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
committed,
Right,
it's
okay.
necessary. But
And then, so we're at the LMS pavement parking lot and access road.
Yeah, that's necessary. We had that as listed as necessary.
Right.
Are we all in agreement of necessary on the
Yeah.
previous line?
Before we move ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I
we,
am.
I mean, yeah, like I said, that was the schools,
Yeah.
Right.
but
So
you
is that good
guys.
with everyone?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess we're okay with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's LMS paving, parking lot and access road. So again, this was, by the school, it was committed, but I assume that's
I guess
changed.
all right, so if we're looking at the definition, how we're factoring urgent and necessary, why would the access and parking lot in LMS, which is a hazard on parent-teacher night and other stuff, why would that not be considered urgent?
we're doing that one now.
I mean,
I thought we already did that. I thought we just did.
No, we just did the
We just
district-wide
did
capital
district-wide
improvements.
capital
yeah,
improvement.
I agree with you, Carrie, on that one. I just think the GMS needs are more urgent
They were trying
than
to
the
be,
LMS.
we put the urgents and then
Oh, see, I actually think this one's more of a life safety. Like if something happens and people need to be able to get in and
they
out in
can't
a fire
get out,
truck,
yeah.
Mhm.
can't get in and out, I appreciate
But this
the
one's
school-
deferred to 2025
Yeah.
anyway.
I don't
So-
think
So, I mean,
that's
what,
right.
so was this to widen the road?
That
Or
was part
is
of
this was
it.
to?
I don't,
put-
can you widen it because
It's-
of?
I don't know, there's too, I thought there was
It's a
houses on both
state road.
sides.
It's
No,
not-
that little road's not.
I mean, you
The
know,
entrance to the school parking lot is what you're talking about. It's only one lane, right?
Right,
One
it's
and
a,
a
it's a
half.
private
Yeah.
road.
That is.
Private road, yeah.
it's like
So it
one
would be
and a
to add that second point of entry and exit.
Where would that
which would
go?
be well, we have deeded rights, I don't know the name of the road or where it would connect to.
Stage
But it
crossing.
would be
Oh,
the
it's
stage
a
crossing.
stage.
But it
Yeah.
would be gated, so it wouldn't be used unless it was necessary to be used.
In an emergency
So,
only.
Emergency only type of thing.
But why? Because like, it can get, like, wouldn't that ease the pressure at pickup and others?
No, actually, pickup and drop off have been going much more smoothly
Okay.
since they rerouted the pickup lines.
Okay.
It is, you know, it is definitely a concern during events. So I think the redoing the parking lot would also address the drainage issues underneath. We have failing,
The way they described it last time was paving, underground piping, and the access road.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
three of those items
Yeah.
were 550,000.
Yeah, repaving it, I think, too, would address some of the ADA compliance issues that we have. That parking lot is not ADA compliant. I don't know if you've ever tried to park at a handicap spot and then wheel up to the building or down from the building, but it's not, there are some issues there. And it would enlarge the parking lot as well, so that we had ample parking or more parking for events. So we wouldn't need to use McElwain.
Yeah, I see it, again, my kids aren't there anymore, but as I see it, one way in, one way out, that to me is a safety concern.
Agreed.
And so that, I don't think that's necessary, I think that's urgent. But then again, I also share a different opinion on some of the other ones, so.
I'd say
So you-
necessary.
You're gonna say
I mean, they've got
necessary?
it down for 2025, so, if, you know, if it was urgent, I think they would have wanted it sooner.
Yeah, well, but they're also focusing on one school
Well,
over the other, so.
That's it, so.
I think we're
Well, they
also
just spent all
trying
that
to-
money on
We're
their
also
school
trying to
doing all
not-
the
Trying
things
to
that
balance
they
the
did there.
town too.
Well,
because
exactly,
there
but I'm
are
just
needs
saying,
in
you
the
just
town.
spent a boatload of money on LMS, so if you put that at 2025, then I'm gonna say it's necessary.
Yep.
And
Based
everybody-
on their
I mean, it's a
ranking.
nuance of necessary urgent,
No,
but I mean, I
from your
get
point
what
of
you're
view,
saying.
yeah.
I get what you're saying, but they can't have every need be urgent.
No, I appreciate that.
So it's necessary, the consensus?
What do you think,
You
people?
guys think, yeah,
For the road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the pavement parking lot access
paving,
road.
parking.
What's it, they marked it as
We marked it
necessary.
priority, which isn't our thing.
You mark-
Well, they marked
Well, then
it
we changed it to committed.
as
which-
committed, but it's not.
But
it's-
that's
Not
not
really,
it
it's,
either.
yeah,
They're
it's
saying
not
it's
really, it's
necessary.
really priority, I guess, is what, in our mind. Between urgent and necessary.
I'm comfortable with a necessary,
You're comfortable
Okay.
with necessary?
I think so.
Say necessary.
Going,
So this goes out to 2025, 26.
Would you agree, Doug?
Yeah, I think looking at everything, school and town,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, this is to a point where that's gonna hit another reevaluation too.
Because of the year that
Yeah.
it's on, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, what we put in here now this is not permanent. Like,
Right.
anything we paid for and it's approved and all that, that's stuck, but everything else is subject to change,
Yeah.
right? That's why we cycle these things.
that's right.
So,
So that takes us to the high school energy efficiency.
Okay.
And what does that project include?
So that includes, we've just replaced all of the lighting at
Right.
CHS to LEDs with grant funding.
Uh-huh.
Replacement of mechanical systems to achieve greater energy efficiency and cost savings.
Which mechanical system?
So that would.
You mean like heat and,
Yeah.
Heating, HVAC, ventilation.
Yeah.
Weren't you guys in the HVA system with your ESSER funds as
Yes,
part of
we
COVID?
did. We made a lot of improvements,
Yeah.
but it's not 100% yet.
Yeah. So
And-
as
sorry,
things
go ahead.
age, you can, kind of replace a compressor, or eventually you might want to replace the whole unit, because you can, you're going to replace parts of it anyways, and you can replace the whole unit and get better energy savings after that point of replacement too. So it's whether to keep on going piecemeal, or at some point say, let's put a chunk of money towards replacing whole units.
So how much did we already invest in that system there?
From ESSER funds?
Yep.
Oof, I don't know, I have to. You probably know where to find it easier than I do, Doug.
Well, the
was
ESSER
the
one
phase.
was not a lot of money.
Was it about 100, I want to say like
It might
130,000?
have even been less than that. So there was some ESSER one, and I think there was possibly some impact fee money that went into getting the systems to work better. I don't know how much went into CHS. so-
Yeah.
I just seem to recall there being a lot of funding spent on mechanical systems during,
Well-
in an effort to get the buildings open for school, so.
Right, that's true. One of the biggest things that we did with the ESSER funds was we replaced the control system
Yep.
for all of the HVAC because
Yeah.
the wires had been cut and we didn't have main controls. So our custodians were running around the building with a wrench, turning valves in order to heat and cool. So now we have, and that, I mean.
Oh,
those-
I know, that was donated several years ago, that
Yep.
someone thought it would be brilliant to save a few bucks and cancel the controls contract.
Right.
And controls contractors, when you do that, literally cut the cord, so
Yeah.
why we weren't surprised that we no longer had control is beyond me.
Again, before my time. So we replaced all that. So that did, help with the energy efficiency, and the lighting certainly is giving us some cost savings, but. So we had that listed, the district had that listed as necessary.
Well, I remember from last time when this came up, CHS energy efficiency was necessary.
okay.
That's what we had
What I-
marked
We
it
could
as,
call it
but.
necessary.
So, since it'll be a warrant article in several years, I think that'll give you an opportunity to pull together that chart of this is what we spend, this is what we'll save, and hopefully demonstrate that it pays for itself in a few years. So-
Yeah,
So hopefully.
Well, always the
I mean,
plan.
And it was further up the schedule last time too. right?
Right, so.
It was,
Now it's 2026.
yeah. So I mean, I'm almost saying that goes into a desirable bucket if you're willing to kick it down the road that far from where we were the last time. Because I just saw it was in whatever year that second column is. It was 22.
22.
It was in 22.
1 million.
I think part of it is that we were able to do a lot with the ESSER funds prior to 22.
So I'm willing to go to G with that.
It was necessary,
Yeah, it was necessary, 1 million.
but it was for 2022.
Right.
Well, they were able to do
And now
the part
it's
of
a
it.
push to
Does that make sense, Doug?
2026.
We were able
What
to
was the
get
total dollar
the
amount?
critical
It was
stuff
somewhat-
done.
It really
1.282?
wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
money,
Sure,
but.
what?
Yeah.
1.282.
Right, so they did part of it, I guess that's
Yeah.
what they're saying is they.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's almost like a downgrade at that point, right? Because they've done a portion of it. And it's out
Pushed
to
it
26.
2026, so a G,
So that's 4 years from now, so I mean, this is gonna
Desirable.
cycle through at least a couple times.
So is that desirable?
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, that's
Alright.
good.
That takes us to gym floor replacement, LMS.
So we were informed that we are on our last sand, which does make sense because it's a little over 40-year building and you're supposed to get around 40 years from a wood floor. So obviously that floor is used quite a bit
So
during
if
the
you're
day.
on it right, if you're on the last sand, does that mean it's like that it has a couple more years left in it? Because you just got it done?
It's got 5 at least.
Because you have it out here
According to
for
the chart, this is
2027.
Well, I think we would push that sooner, but again, trying to kind of,
Yeah, balance, I
Balance
understand.
everything.
But I mean, right now, are they at the point where they can't use it? The
No,
kids
they're
can't use the
using
gym?
it.
Okay, so they're using it.
So they're-
When was it sanded last year?
Must have been, if we just
It-
found
I
out
thought
that
it
it's
was-
on its last
I don't know if it
sand,
was last year.
I thought it was pretty recent.
I think it was recent, yeah.
like over the
So
summer.
D,
Was it over the summer?
I don't know.
D.
That's more of a.
Does it say in
I
the,
go D.
I'm gonna go
Yeah, so
desirable.
this is- Well, that's what I
Desirable.
think, because
That's
they've got
OMS
it,
floor.
it's usable right this minute, and they've got it out to 2027, so.
Well, I guess the real question is, I mean, what do we, how much longer life does it have? And, I mean, you guys sound like you're adjusting the numbers to try to space stuff out, but I mean, if it doesn't make sense and it's not gonna make it out to 27, then where do we think it actually should be on this sheet so we can properly discuss it?
How would their termites come in?
I mean, 'cause,
Like,
I mean,
did
realistically,
nobody notice? Like, you
If
don't
it's
have
not gonna
anybody
make
checking for
27, then
bugs?
we, you know.
No, we have somebody out there checking for bugs, I don't know. you
They
know,
missed the termites?
I don't know how you get underneath the gym floor necessarily to.
Is it on grade or is there like a airspace underneath it? Like,
I'm
how do you
not
get
sure.
termites?
Yeah.
Is that the only place we have termites?
no,
Where else do we have termites?
I don't know, but we have pest control contracts with
Yeah.
people who come in all
We
the
don't have a
time.
lot of block building, it's not a lot
Right,
of
we don't have a lot of wood.
in the building, so the gym floor is your main part where you're gonna have the
Okay.
wood.
I was just surprised by
So
that,
the,
that's
so the
all.
termites play basketball too?
They're too short.
Found
They're
it,
too short,
so.
that's true. So, I mean, what do we think the lifespan of this thing's gonna be, right? I mean, we're in 22 now, so this is a 5-year
I
out.
mean, right now, it looks decent, I think that the termite question is a tricky one to answer, cause I don't know what
Right.
that looks like a year or two from now, but I don't wanna be like doomsday, like we'd eat it next year, I don't think that's the
Right.
case.
Right,
But just on the basis of the sanding, is that 5 years, or is it more, less? Because something can be out years and still be necessary, just
Right,
because
it's
it's out.
necessary
no,
in
no,
that
for sure.
year.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just making sure that, like, you know, if we're trying to balance this bottom line, and we know this thing is only gonna make it another 3,
Yeah.
Right.
let's put it in the right
And I
spot so we
appreciate that. I
can
think,
figure
you
it
know,
out.
As educators, we're kind of conditioned to make do as long as you can.
Yeah.
But I certainly appreciate,
What would happen if they didn't have it?
moving it up
You
if
have a-
necessary.
Well, I guess, wouldn't have it would depend, I think typically if you wouldn't have part of it, because the whole gym floor wouldn't necessarily fail at one time, you know, so you would have, you know, there's a curtain in the middle right now, so you'd be down to half your
Oh,
gym, quarter your
okay.
gym, but again, it's not just us it's the basketball. And there's-
No, I understand,
Yeah,
but-
so, I mean, basketball, you know, for the rec league, they need the whole gym, so does the middle
Right,
school
I get
teams. So,
And the place that did the last one, they didn't give you an estimated lifespan of this final sand?
I don't have that information right now, I can check in with Dave about that.
Okay.
But obviously that's
I
not
mean,
gonna help us
and, you
tonight.
know, the termites are whatever they are, I mean,
So do
I'm
you
s- I'm
feel
still
it should be
perplexed how they
necessary,
have that.
Peter, or desirable?
I don't know, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I mean,
right?
Jay said we could just make it, if it's gonna be necessary, eventually we could just make it necessary, but in an out year, it doesn't have to be, just because it's in an out year doesn't make it not necessary.
I know, but if we make it necessary and it becomes an issue because it's kind of falling apart, it's gonna change its priority, right?
Well,
It
we'll
can't
find a
in
way
the- in
to,
the-
We're probably gonna find that out this year, though.
yeah.
That's what, yeah, well, exactly, when somebody, steps through a termite hole.
Well, we can make it urgent if you want.
I don't think it's urgent, I mean,
They're using it now, and
So
they're,
the reality
nobody's
is by
going to do it before.
2027, do you think it's necessary? Because that's what
No,
it's
he
listed,
thinks
right?
it's urgent by 2027.
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh.
If it could be, right? Because, I mean, if they're projecting 3 more years, then it's like 2 years past its lifespan, right? I mean, you gotta figure, people running on top of it, if it's got termite damage and it's running thin in certain spots.
Right.
You know
Well,
what I
have they
mean?
mitigated for the termites?
Is it gonna make it that long?
There's more information.
Do you know, Christina, did they mitigate for the termites? Have they gotten rid of
I
them?
would've hoped they would've done something.
I'm sure we're, having it treated and
Okay.
having the pests controlled. Like I said, we do have contracts. I know
Okay.
the district has contracts for pests, because we
okay.
live in New Hampshire and that happens, so. Yeah, I mean, we had it as necessary in our CIP, in the board approved version. So I would go by that, just because that's what the board voted on, so. That's what I would recommend.
I'm all right with that, are you? Necessary?
I'm fine. I just,
Okay, let's
Some of
just
these
leave that
things are
one as
funky.
necessary.
Looks like N is the winner.
So, and, yeah.
Just put
Yeah.
in on that one, yeah.
So that takes us to LMS fields.
Yeah, those would be new fields, because right now we don't have any fields at LMS, so that would allow our middle school athletes to actually have practice and games at the middle school, which we don't have.
Yeah, so right now they walk down to the GMS fields, which I guess is technically LMS property, but it's on level with GMS. So they walk down through the woods to the fields there to use the fields. And they're not doing that for things like recess or things like that, but that's just for after-school sports.
Right.
So.
Or we're busing them to Dara.
Yeah.
Why aren't you using Brickyard? Like, that's like right around the corner.
Good question, I don't know.
I don't know, must be some
I think-
decision between the town
Yeah.
and the school. So the goal or the thought was.
Versus rec.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Sawmill, what was the other one that they're using? You're using
Dara.
Dara.
Dara, which is rec. Brickyard is rec, and right around the corner.
So it would be to put in a baseball field and a softball field, so you could run a lacrosse or a soccer field right down the middle as well, or diagonally.
Where would this go?
On the LMS grounds.
On the
So
LMS grounds.
basically, where we thought we could put an elementary school would be fields.
So it's still, they still have to go down a path to some point, right?
It would be on the
No.
opposite side of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So if the grounds are too soggy for a building, how are they gonna be drainable enough for a field?
I think the moisture was a part of it, but a lot of it too was just the landscape of, we need 15 acres to build an elementary school, but we don't need nearly that much space for 2 softball, baseball fields and a soccer field.
Yeah, so I think it was the total space. So total space elementary field, school, and then you have the drop off, so you only have so much space to work
Right.
with.
Okay.
Sorry if I
So how did you have
interrupted
that rated on your sheet?
Well, they have it as necessary.
Desirable.
I'd say D.
Desirable?
That'd be my vote, but.
Yeah, I'm kind of
You're
inclined for
leaning
that
towards
too.
that too?
D.
D.
Yeah.
All right. That leads us to CHS irrigation.
And that's coming out of impact fee, or your special funds. Can't remember, I thought it was
Um,
impact fees or what?
I
was
think
a
it
different
was,
Rainy days.
rainy day fund.
Rainy day, okay.
Yeah.
What rainy day fund?
The one we
The
already used on the other stuff, I don't know.
the wide repair
Building, yeah,
fund,
building and grounds.
building and grounds.
I thought we drained those.
Okay.
So we don't have to prioritize that.
Right.
And the other two are not really
Yeah.
Those are.
Those are
off the-
DR.
Those are off the chart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
DR, okay.
They are off the chart.
okay.
Wait,
Okay.
this way.
That's it.
Right.
And-
all right.
and-
So do you want me to recap?
Sure.
So what I have is, new police facility, urgent. And that includes both the engineering, of course, and the bond. The 1991 tanker truck replacement for the fire department as urgent. I have the annual road improvement program, the operating budget, that's the grant, as necessary, and the warrant article as necessary. And then we did not rate the next two because they're ARPA. So the heavy duty plow as deferrable. Then going down to recreation, Sawmill Brook Park necessary. Talent hall improvements desirable. The parking lot paving desirable. And the tennis courts at Sawmill necessary.
Agree.
And then we are down to the Conservation Commission Land Purchase Fund as necessary.
Agree.
And then we've got the land purchase for the elementary school as urgent. The new GMS school replacement urgent. The $25 million in repairs is deferrable. District-wide capital improvements as necessary. LMS parking lot improvements, access road pavement necessary. High school energy efficiency desirable. LMS gym floor replacement necessary. LMS fields desirable. We did rate irrigation. And then the last two are deferrable.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And that you would want to vote on.
Okay. So at this time,
Do
unless.
we wanna vote on that, or we wanna
Yes.
adjust anything else on the columns?
It's up to you guys.
The
what you wanna
timing.
do.
Well, oh, and the timing?
Yeah, when it's gonna actually
Yeah,
get.
so from
Yeah,
2000.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of adjusting? The,
I don't know. Just trying to figure out how we would level this. Mostly because we have, I mean, there's an unknown cost here, right, depending on which way the school goes.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna go up no matter what, it's just how much it goes up. Right. And then we have a kind of a big bump in 25 and 26.
What's that?
It was just an aside.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought I was ignoring someone.
Explore.
Okay.
I mean, and then,
25 is your highest year, and you've got two kind of additional items there, which is why.
no, I know, I mean, but, you know, and then we gotta look, I mean, right now, the way this is played out, you know, the school and the police station hit the same time.
That's right, they hit the same.
And the likelihood of both of those making through warrant articles probably have a better chance of winning the $1 billion lottery.
Now when you calculate how much that impact is actually.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, 393.
Well, and I mean, depending on what we find out from building aid and what the other towns above us on that ranking do, we might,
I know, but that's
I,
still
like,
wishful thinking.
Appreciate your
I
optimism.
agree.
you know.
But did we confirm?
I hear you, it's a possibility, but
I
that's
know.
like a.
But whatever year the school starts, you're gonna see a bump, there's
Yeah.
no way around it.
100%. No, I know, but I mean, the police and the school are
Right.
still scheduled in 24
Okay.
That's right.
to start. That's what I'm saying.
And that's
The
confirmed.
likelihood two large projects of that magnitude
Yeah.
are
That's
gonna
true.
go through warrant in the
Mm-hmm.
same year is, yeah. I mean, somebody's,
The whole point of this was so that
Smoking
it wouldn't
something.
happen.
Well, is the
Right?
police?
well, but the police station, its original schedule was 24.
I'm just saying, the whole point of this was to make sure that we didn't hit people at the same time.
100%.
with big
That's
projects.
one point, yes.
That's
So
what I'm
it's-
saying, but I mean,
So it's a little disappointing that it happened
well,
anyway.
I mean,
I hear you. I'm
yes,
disappointed too.
but the issue is, you got, how much, what's the remainder on this building?
This was a,
18,
Yeah.
17?
yeah, but this was a lot lower per, and
I understand, but nonetheless, it's,
Yes.
it's a building purchase,
No,
which
I
are the
agree.
most expensive things, right? So we have an ongoing fire department bond, and then we're looking to put two more on, even if we get some kind of, you know,
yeah, we still
we
have.
get super lucky and win the school lottery and we get some money there, it's still a lot, right? And then it's just, you know, how do we stagger this out? Because there's gonna be three big ongoing building projects at the same time.
Have the selectmen and the police confirmed that they still want to have that ask on in 2024? Or are we just going
Oh,
by?
I'm sure they do. Why
Yeah.
would their urgent needs, you know,
I'm
be
just-
any different than the schools,
It's
right?
what, and that's what they request.
That's what they
Okay, that's what
requested,
they,
yeah.
okay. I wasn't here for that. That's all I
Yeah.
was asking.
They just left it as is because that was what they had.
Okay.
You know,
Well, they
and,
pushed
and,
it out
and this
2
is,
years
this
from
is
where it
always the
was.
problem, right? Because every one of the department heads,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are looking at your own stuff, right? And then we kind of get the holistic picture and then
Right.
we're like, holy crap, right? Where's all this stuff end up? So,
Right.
And the problem is that, as everybody described, in their,
Well, I mean,
you know,
look, it's
the
a sales
longer you
pitch,
put it
right?
off, the
Everybody,
more,
everybody has
the
their
more
own sense of
the prices
urgency.
go up.
The real understanding of urgency doesn't come until these things actually hit warrant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
Right.
we're trying to smooth it out to make it as palatable as possible.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, even if we stagger it, it doesn't save us any. Other than the police station's only for a 10-year. At least that's what we were told last time,
Mm-hmm, right.
Yeah, it's in here as a tenure.
so.
Although,
But I just,
would they help us by going longer, I guess, would be one question.
that's another, I mean, can we move
You
it?
mean making their,
Well,
I don't like the idea, I like
can move-
small and
we
get
can
it done
move
with
whatever
minimum
we want.
interest,
Yeah.
but at the same
I mean,
I mean,
time,
it's just kinda,
I saved $393 and the quick math shows that that's gonna be a very unpleasant tax bill a year, so.
And our goal was to, vote on this tonight and present it to planning board tomorrow. But
Right,
if-
right.
If the group doesn't feel that you're ready to vote, then I guess you could push that schedule out.
well, I guess the real question is, do we have other questions that need an answer and that we can't get answered right now?
No, but I mean, the police station and other stuff, like, that's not gonna be up this year, right? So you still have, next year, you can reevaluate it.
yeah,
Yeah.
The question, ultimately, the question is, are we comfortable mostly with this coming year?
Similarly with the school, they're gonna go for the engineering money this year, and that'll be a litmus test.
right.
Yeah, but then we need to make a note in the CIP that we reevaluate. And I'm fine with that, because, I mean, this whole cycle has been unpleasant with timing,
Yeah,
amongst other things.
And I think
It's
given
kinda put
the-
us under the gun.
Given the contingencies that exist in this, reevaluating it next year absolutely
Makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Jay, you're gonna up that,
Starting
the bond
earlier
payment on the police
next
to a little
year.
more?
I'll jack up that interest rate.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, the department head should be in probably March.
Well, once the ballot goes, why not? Like,
That's what I'm saying, right after warrant, that they should come in with their ask, and then we can
Yeah.
decide to
And I will say, I
field
think
this.
the plan was this year that everybody come earlier, but then we had,
Unexpected.
No, I get it, I mean, it's just
Yes.
kinda like,
Yeah.
from a lessons learned perspective, I
Yeah.
think,
we
you know.
lost the summer, basically.
Yeah,
Right,
much.
right.
getting the details out of what we need from folks, set a deadline on them, and then say, if you don't get in, you're not on the plan. I mean,
Right,
I think that's where we went horribly wrong with this. I mean, if you weren't ready, or there was some other holdup, if you missed the cutoff date, you're just done. We're zeroing you out for the,
but I
till the
think
next
part of the
CIP.
reason we waited was because we were trying to
Become.
use up the ARPA, I mean, you
Well, that
know.
was another
Yeah, I think there were some
issue.
So I
questions
think
about
that-
ARPA, I think
yeah,
there was some other
that was
stuff, you
part of
know.
the-
Oh, we also had Troy leaving.
Yeah,
That was
and
right,
and
too.
that,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another big one.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he was driving the whole town, so we had a bit of a gap. It was,
Yeah.
you know, we'll
Right.
say a convergence of less than perfect storms.
Right, so we'll do better next year.
So if we want to make note of this cycle as we're really focusing on the 23 column, and then we're going to reevaluate right after warrant for starting 24 and redo and move from 24 to, you know, 29
And
next
that's a
time,
good point to make.
you know,
Okay.
just because I mean,
Yeah, makes sense.
this is what we were talking about last time, right? This thing, this can be 3 or 4 sessions easy. You know, if we really want to sit down and pick it apart. Because I remember the last time we did it, you kept having to make edits and we'd have to come back and look at it again. So I mean, that's the other thing too, maybe we get a digital copy that we can put up on the board and just start mucking with it
Yeah.
next cycle, because I think it'll
Yep.
help streamline. But for right now,
So will we be able to go to the planning board tomorrow night?
Well, I'm wondering if we need to work on the presentation, the PowerPoint. And, I mean, obviously, that's a time crunch, because
Yeah.
it's tomorrow.
Yeah. So maybe we go to the next planning board meeting.
Maybe the next one, and at least give us an opportunity to flush
For
out,
December.
and obviously, put
Yeah.
everything together, yeah.
Turning around a PowerPoint for
It-
tomorrow night would be.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have time to do
Yeah.
that, to be honest.
I don't think we
what does that do to the budget committee, Carrie?
For what?
If we push
Wait.
it out?
Yeah.
Does that jack you guys up?
Well, I mean, we're going through the school right now. Ultimately, warrant articles generally get presented in December anyway.
They do or don't?
They
They
do.
They do? What about impact fee schedules and all that stuff? When does that come in? After the first or the tail end of this year?
I mean, impact fees, I don't know that they directly affect us because
No, we can
it's
still
voted
get
on
you,
by-
though we can still get this draft to that, we can still get this to the budget committee, even if we haven't presented to the
We'll
planning board
take
yet.
drafts. I'm happy to, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm happy to look at whatever you have, I'm always willing to look at.
Okay.
At least to
I'm
get
just-
the conversation thinking stuff.
Well, I mean, I think we have everything plotted out
Yeah.
as best as it's understood
Right.
to some level. I'm not comfortable with
And I think that
the 24 on schedule right
And I
now.
think that the majority, I would say all, but I don't know how everybody all thinks. But I don't see that would be a difficult conversation to have. Be like, look, everybody's fully aware of the challenges we faced this past year. So
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get through this year, I think
Yeah.
people will give a lot of grace. Like, all right,
Well-
at least we got to 2023.
And it gives us a buffer in case there's any other unknown or
Right.
Right.
unexpected things that happen.
Right, and like we were talking about earlier, right, the outcome of some of these votes could dramatically change or confirm
forward, right.
numbers going forward
Exactly.
anyway. So,
Yeah, because the engineering fees for the police department and then the land purchase for the school
Right.
might help guide
right, if they
Right.
pass,
the
then
larger.
we're in good
Right.
shape. If they fail, then we know we have to do a lot of reworking anyway. so.
Right.
We need to make sure we note that in the presentation too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I feel like this is.
Yeah.
this
No, I
is
see
a-
what you're saying, though,
This,
yeah.
this is a draft year, I'm just saying.
it's a critical point.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good footnote.
Yeah.
From a selfish point of view, I just want the impact fees done
I
before
know,
the next
well,
meeting
that's what I'm
development
saying, well, if we
hits.
leave it like this, then you get your wish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
And then we adjust again
Mhm.
next year.
Which is why I'm okay with some of these numbers being a little higher than I think they should be, because it's a first attempt, but
So do you
Well,
want
it's what
to
we're
make a
going with,
motion
what we
to
were
that
given.
effect? And then we can,
I will make a motion to that effect,
okay.
whatever, however anybody wants to document that motion.
he is amazing when he documents this, so he'll make you, I'm
Okay,
sure
well,
he'll
we'll
make you
see how
sound
he
good.
deciphers
He's got it already figured out.
that circular line of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if not, I'm sure he'll ask you later, like, can I clarify?
That's fine.
So we're
So you
good
move that we
Yeah.
are approving
Approve
this
this.
as we have it
We're gonna
now.
It's a
approve
motion
with
with
this.
the understanding
With
that
the
we're gonna
proviso.
With
visit it
the
next year.
provisos.
Right, with the understanding
I
that
second.
23 we're good with, 24 we're going to start earlier, reevaluate
Right,
that going forward, and then we should have, if we start that like early April, right after the warrants go through,
Right.
we should have a better gauge of what that means for the police and the school, because there's indicator warrants that we're gonna go in for the engineering costs for the police station and the land purchase for the school that might help gauge and help level set out, right?
I second that.
Okay, I have the motion, I have a second.
So that made sense? Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it did,
Sense.
I understand, because
It
we're,
does.
because we're gonna let the people speak, and then we're gonna reevaluate.
I mean, I mean, that's where all this lands anyway. It's just a
Right,
matter of
exactly.
where it
Yeah.
plots out on the time frame and everything else.
Right.
Okay. So I have a motion and I have a second. Do I have any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Abstained?
No vote, so.
Oh, you don't vote.
No, no, shouldn't. Motion passes 4-0-0. Okay,
Yep, 4.
very good. All good?
Well, can we talk about our next, when we're supposed to meet again?
Oh, we will. Yes.
Monday, November 28th,
November 28th?
Is what? The
next meeting.
Next
meeting?
planning meeting? Or our next meeting?
Is the 28th.
I had on that
Ours
that
is
we were gonna
28th.
go to the selectmen that night.
I think that's what that is, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
We were
That would
supposed
be
to meet
messed
Right,
up
'cause
now, right?
you don't need to meet as a committee again until after town meeting.
Right.
It's just the selectmen and the planning board.
So can we go to the selectmen first and then the planning
could.
board second?
You could.
Would that be a problem?
When does the planning board meet again?
But what we'll do is we'll provide this to the planning board tomorrow night so that they'll have it.
Right, they'll have it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Got it, if they
Okay.
wanna, okay. All right,
So that's a sneak preview
And
for the actual
public hearing
presentation.
was gonna be on the
Right.
29th,
What's that?
the public hearing.
Well, originally, we did, at the last meeting, because we were trying to get things in, I think we said the 29th, we were gonna have a public hearing, but we can move that, I
We
think.
could move that
Okay.
Yeah, we can move
to the
that.
following week.
And, everyone's gonna get confused anyway, so, okay.
I have the
Well, that's
5th
what we
of,
talked to Kim, I don't
Right,
remember
because she
last-
said we had to get the notice in, because she had to get
Because
it in.
it took like 2 weeks or
Right.
3 weeks for it to
That was
cycle
the-
through.
Yeah. But we can
and
definitely.
we have a
move that.
committee meeting on the 5th of December, I have on my,
That
That
was,
was a placeholder, if we don't need it, we don't have to have it, although you could do the public hearing that night.
maybe we can do it that night.
Do we have enough time?
Which day
It's
about
only
this?
3 weeks out.
We should.
well, when's the planning committee that we don't go to tomorrow?
That would be
When
the
is it?
beginning of next December.
That would be, what
That
is
would
it,
be the beginning of
6th?
December, yeah,
Oh, that would be
It's
the
the
6th,
the
okay.
6th is a
Oh, yeah.
Tuesday.
Right,
So we should put that in?
yeah.
So the 5th would go to,
And you could even hold a public hearing that night too. It's part of the planning board meeting if you wanted to.
oh, really?
Good.
Okay.
It just has to be public, I don't think
Just
it
as
matters.
right.
Right, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Well, maybe we'll do that then, and just make it,
Well, we got 2 sessions of public input that don't get used often.
okay.
We'll get notice.
I'm just
Okay,
saying,
I'm putting that down.
Yeah.
efficiency.
Yeah,
We can double check
So we're
tomorrow,
not
just to make
meeting
sure we
tomorrow.
can make.
Yeah, make the-
notices and
yeah.
Talk to Kim and make
So
sure.
do we need to go tomorrow or not?
so, I mean, what we can do, I mean,
No.
no,
Okay.
no, we don't have to do that tomorrow. So we would move that out to the, so the 5th December?
For both, the planning board and the,
No, well, I mean, we
Planning
can
board
have a
meet-
separate meeting if we want.
Planning board will meet the 6th,
Planning board meet the 6th.
but we could do, yeah, I mean, we could do a separate meeting.
And
So
that's
that
at
way-
6 o'clock? I'm sorry, the 5th or the 6th of December?
might be
Both?
both, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay.
So if it, because, yeah, now I'm getting myself confused. The,
Yeah.
Can
Board
the
of
public
Select-
hearing go ahead of the planning board conversation?
I think it could, let me double check that, but I think.
And I deleted tomorrow
I just don't
night,
want to break
right?
the order of
Oh,
operation rules.
That's good.
Goodness.
I'll double check that point.
Okay.
Let's double check those dates and
All
talk to
right.
Kim also and just make sure.
All right,
that
that's
It's
fine.
okay, and we can just circulate to everybody, just confirmation on those.
That,
Perfect.
Yeah,
I
okay,
think it makes sense.
that makes sense.
yeah, because we
Alright,
just
so
need to make
yeah,
sure we
that's-
do things in the proper.
Yeah, because
Right,
I'd
exactly.
hate to backtrack and I'd hate to be like,
Okay.
oh, you can't do
Yeah.
that.
Well, and that was her big
because-
warning to us last meeting was, once we commit
Yeah,
to
you can't-
to that,
yeah, you
with-
can't
with
change
public
it.
hearing, we're kind of,
Yeah.
You're locked in.
that's it,
So,
because we've already posted it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
okay. So we'll check
Don't
with
need
her.
any torches and pitchforks.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Alrighty. Let's see here.
All right, I'm totally confused myself to do.
Yeah, well, that makes two of us.
So it's right when.
So I think we're just waiting on the outcome of,
Yeah, we're waiting to find out on that.
planning's on December 6th.
Planning is definitely on,
Go to
yeah,
planning
planning
on
28th
December
was
6th.
the selectmen,
Selectmen,
the selectmen.
Alright.
okay.
but if we need to shift it, we will.
And then we might have to change the public hearing, right?
So I have the 28th is the selectmen, 29th might be the public hearing,
Okay,
Yeah,
and
But
then,
we'll confirm to everybody.
yeah.
and the
And I looked at the
5th
draft.
and 6th.
At least the draft schedule, for presentation of warrant articles, it was mid-December, with voting, I think, the first week in January, so we
Okay.
have
Little time.
some time, we have some breathing room, but don't get too comfortable. Don't get too comfortable.
so I have another public input, item H, and seeing nobody in the room, I guess I'll close that. Any other business this evening? I think we talked about the schedule. That's good. And I guess, motion to adjourn.
I just have one more thing. Can
Yeah,
you
go
just
ahead.
send out whatever we decide on dates? Just send
Yeah,
out.
we'll send that.
That was a lot
I know,
of back and forth.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll send
very
it out to everybody.
confused.
We're all good.
That's why I
Can I
wrote it
just
down.
ask,
Yeah,
are
I did
the
too.
meetings coming up gonna be at town hall? We're not gonna be here, are we? Just so I know
Well,
what
I
to-
guess it.
Just so I know what
well,
to
the-
wear.
Depends on
That's
how,
That's, yeah.
That's also to be determined.
To be
Oh, to be
determined,
determined,
yeah.
okay.
We'll
So
let everybody know that
too,
too.
so
We
we
Yeah,
will definitely
yeah.
let you
figure out if
know.
we want the
both
flannel
Yeah, my
line
snow
or
pants and
jeans
parka.
things.
Oh, I
I will
might get
definitely-
one of those nice heated vests, they're amazing. I'm not kidding, it's very lovely.
It's a good point, if we're here, dress accordingly.
Dress accordingly.
I don't think
Or we
it's too
could submit a
horrible.
request to turn on the heat.
Electric lap robe.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll make
made.
Okay, so moved, have a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Aye.
abstained, motion
Very good.
passes 4-0-0. Thank you very much, good evening, and we'll see you on the 28th. Good night.
Sure. I have a few. Especially if I can't find my